Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi Yachts here. It's Saturday morning, and the Raptors lost to the Pistons last night in NBA Cup action. It was kind of a sad game because we were starting to realize, that in the tiers of the NBA, the Pistons are maybe above us at this point. And yeah, it is what it is. This is temporary. This is a time when we're not healthy and we're rebuilding, and we have to keep focused on understanding that, or we'll go crazy. We'll go absolutely crazy. Now, yesterday was dismaying because honestly, once again, just like the first NBA Cup game, we had a very good chance to beat a team that's not that good, honestly, in a game where they played pretty sloppy and they made a lot of mistakes, and we had the opportunities. If we just made less mistakes and did certain things better, we could be 2-0 in the NBA Cup right now. But alas, we're a team that does not know exactly what they're doing right now, and it's too bad. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. I mean, there were key things about last night that we lost about. Maybe it's poor shooting by some of our main stars, like Grady and Oshai were not on, as far as they got some open threes, especially at the end with Grady there. We know he's a sure shot, but maybe some of this stuff is a learning lessons for Grady Dick to learn that these games are going to happen. You're going to get these opportunities, and well, now you failed at doing it. Feel how that failure feels, and think about it the next time, and well, crank it out and make it the next time. Part of it may have been that we didn't want to do an overtime because that Taylor Swift concert was down the street. And overtime was already said before the game by Darko in the pre-game press conference that they shouldn't want to get in overtime because the traffic's going to be hell after the game with the Swifties, thousands and thousands of Swifties at the Sky Dome for a Taylor Swift concert. That's true. I mean, they warned the whole city of Toronto this weekend that the whole downtown core is going to be congested and having really, really crazy traffic because Taylor Swift decided to do 6 concerts or something in a row in our city. I mean, it's a huge boon thing, but what's happened is Taylor Swift fans from around the world have converged on Toronto, and it's great for the economy of the city, but it's not good for the traffic. It's not good for the traffic downtown. The Raptors had to consider that they were getting out of the arena to fly to Boston last night, and they had to fly to Boston, and they're playing again today. So I have a preview for the Boston game right now too. Might as well do that, get that out of the way since we're trying to stay present. Last night's already happened. Well, we got to look forward to tonight and playing against the defending champions in Boston tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, so let's look at what I normally do for the preview. The Celtics have injuries right now. Drew Holiday is listed as questionable. It's his knee. So there's a strong possibility that Drew Holiday will not be playing against us in this game tonight. We haven't seen him a whole lot, actually. When we played them in the preseason, he was missing also. So it's likely that Drew will not be suited up for the Celtics. Jalen Springer is questionable also for today's game. It's his knee. And Porzingis is still out, guys. Porzingis is not expected back until some point in December is when they're thinking he will finally make his season debut then. So, yeah, their depth chart is looking like it's going to probably be Peyton Pritchard starting, possibly, or maybe they put somebody else in there like Hauser. But, yeah, it'll be Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, probably Peyton Pritchard. Their bench is Sam Hauser, Quita, or whatever his name is, Jordan Walsh, Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman, J.D. Davison. And yeah, that's pretty much their bench right now. They run a real tight ship there. They have some guys that they really count on that are off the bench, like Hauser and Pritchard. And yeah, they just do what they do. So it's the Celtics, man. I mean, they're the one of the two Eastern teams that has a winning record right now. They're 10-3. And I looked at their Celtics schedule, and boy, is it very different than the Raptors schedule to start the season. Lots of games against Charlotte, lots of games against lower teams in certain ways, as far as like getting a chance to play cream puffs more often early in the season to get themselves going. Yeah, the 3 losses they had were 1 loss in overtime to Pascal and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. They also lost to Golden State at home. So Golden State came to Boston and beat them in their arena. And they lost to Atlanta in the NBA Cup game on Tuesday, which is kind of crazy that they lost the NBA Cup game and didn't start well in their group. So yeah, this is a good Celtics team. They're the defending champions, and we've seen them. We beat them in the preseason. In some ways, this is the kind of way the weird NBA is that we can lose to games that we should maybe possibly beat, and then all of a sudden we win against a team like the Celtics tonight. So who knows? Anything's possible. You two teams take the court. It's not favored for us, obviously, but who knows? Anything's possible. It's the NBA. And back in the old NBA I used to watch, it wasn't so script written. You could have really bad teams rise up and beat top teams in the league. Let's talk about Damon Stoudemire and the Raptors beating the Bulls and Michael Jordan in the Skydome in the debut year of the Toronto Raptors franchise. There's always a possibility to win. So, hey, nothing to lose. We're in a point where 2-11 and we're having a very bad season so far. Why not? We have nothing to lose. Let's go fuck up the Celtics tonight somehow, some way. And I'll tell you, the ref crew is actually not totally horrible. It's conducive for this, possibly. We'll have to see. Our crew chief tonight is Kevin Scott. Kevin Scott is the 14th season out of South Carolina, number 24. His favorite TV show is 48 Hours. He likes the Shawshank Redemption. He listens to Eric Church. His favorite book is Friday Night Lights. He likes to eat cheese pizza. His favorite app is the Weather Channel. He'd most like to visit the Great Barrier Reef, and his bucket list is African safari. And his hidden talent is facial recognition. Once again, he's like an AI person, I guess. He can do facial recognition. Do you work for MSG on your off time for James Dolan, checking people coming in, whether he has a lawsuit or they are a lawsuit against him, something like that? I don't know. It's Kevin Scott. His officiating experience includes 4 seasons in the G League, where he refereed the playoffs from 2009 to 2011, and he was selected to work the finals in 2011. Kevin Scott is he's actually, this is very interesting. He favors the Raptors today in today's game. We have a better win percentage than the Celtics with Kevin Scott, which is very appealing. We win 50% of our games. Meanwhile, the Celtics win 50. It's technically 56 also, but it's a lower percentage. It's 5-6-1 for us, 5-5-8 for them. Very, very close, slim margin, but technically Kevin Scott favors the Raptors just slightly. Justin Van Dyne is the second ref tonight. He is a former police officer, number 64 in his 11th season out of Arcadia, California. His favorite TV show is Entourage. He likes the Bourne movies. He listens to Jimmy Allen. His favorite book is Moneyball. His favorite meal is sushi. He likes the app, the Chive. He'd like to visit Ireland, and he'd like to visit every MLB stadium also. Yeah, Justin Van Dyne joined the NBA officiating staff after 4 years as a referee in the G League. He also officiated in numerous collegiate conferences, including the Pac-12, Mountain West, Big West, WCC, and WAC. So, yes, but Van Dyne, we've had as a ref already this season. We won a game that he was refereeing us. I'm not sure if he refereed the Philly game or the Vince Carter game, but he was he was reffing one of those 2 games that we've won this year. So we're 1-0 so far this season with Justin Van Dyne. That says something right there. Our record with him historically is 54% winning. So, but the Celtics win 65% of the time with Justin Van Dyne. So 54 to 65, the split. He very much favors the Celtics, even though we won the last time we had him. And guys, you're going to get your favorite ref once again, Simone Jelks. I think that's the right one. No, there's 2 of them. There's 2 female refs we've had recently, and this may be the other one. We've got Simone Jelks this morning for the Celtics game tonight as the 3rd ref, number 81 in her 5th season out of Cleveland. Her favorite TV show is The Handmaid's Tale. She likes the movie Love and Basketball. She listens to J. Cole. Her favorite book is the Bible. Her favorite meal is collard greens and peach cobbler. Her favorite app is Skylight. She most like to visit Africa, and her hidden talent is spoken word poetry. That's right. Yeah, Jelks, she had a baby this year in January, and she's been sharing her story about experienced infant loss during her first pregnancy. Jelks earned a master's degree in public health at Case Western Reserve University and a master's degree in urban secondary teaching from Cleveland State University. She worked as a high school Spanish teacher for 6 years. Yeah, we won our first game with her earlier. We've actually only won 1 game with her ever, but we won 1 game this year. This will be the 3rd game she's ref for us this year so far. It's kind of crazy. We won 1 and we lost 1. So she was refereeing one of the 2 games that we won. either Philly or Sacramento. And we are 1-4 with her. So we have a 200 record. So we've played 5 games with her as the ref, and we've won only one of them. So we're 200. And well, the Celtics have had her, I think, 3 times, and she's 3-0 with them. So they have a 100 record. So it's 20 to 100 is the split. 100% wins for the Celtics with this ref, and 20% wins for us with her. But we did win 1 game this year with them this year so far. So the crew is I'll say it's fair. Kevin Scott is not really gonna. I mean, he could railroad us, but I don't see why you would have to. Last night, it could very well have been Scott Foster would have helped us get to the end, but we just didn't take the ball and run with it and make it happen. In some ways, ref manipulations can only take when the team does something to make sure they get it and win it. It is on the team still, but the refs can hold another team back to allow another team to run forward and get it. And we just didn't do that. In some ways, we had the opportunities last night to do that. There were signs that, in some ways, the refs were very friendly to helping the Raptors win in their home court last night. But honestly, we failed at it. And it sucks. It sucks. I hate that. I hate that so much. I'm gonna break down why things happen the way they did in the game next. But yeah, there's your ref crew for tonight. It's a pretty fair ref crew. Kevin Scott, Justin Van Dyne, and Simone Jelks. Yeah, they could it could be worse, honestly. And in some ways, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll just have to see if the Raptors can rise to the occasion and play their asses off and surprise everyone tonight. That would be fun. That in some ways would feel good, wouldn't it? If we could beat the defending champs tonight in their own home court. That's what I'm saying. This NBA season moves fast, and we can't take too long to feel bad about things. We got to go right to the next city and take care of the next game. And that's one of the beautiful things about it. Is you can't have a long memory about it. Grady has to have a short memory about the misses last night late in the game. He missed one, and then he had to take another one immediately after that to try and win the game. And he just has to forget. He has to forget. In some ways, he has to remember how it feels and remember what he learned from not making those shots, and next time do better. That's what it is right there. Darko and RJ both after the game saying we live and die with that shot with Grady, and we're totally fine with that. That's what we want him to do. And in some ways, we're going to live with him or die with him, depending on whether he makes that shot. And it is a shot that we all wanted to be taken for that moment. Different guys are going to get their numbers called on different nights. It's been RJ in recent games also. Last night it was Grady. And Grady, why wouldn't we try and get Grady to take the shots at the end of the game? That man's a sure shot, and he's been shooting very, very well this season, but he didn't shoot well last night, unfortunately. Yeah, all right, let's start the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Reacting to the loss to Detroit and setting up the game for tonight against Boston. Trevor's saying, stop wasting time on people who don't deserve your attention. Time spent with people who care about you is priceless. There you go. There you go. I mean, yeah, it's tough. If you're lucky enough to find somebody who actually does really care about you and actually cares about you for real, the real person, the real you, that is very special, especially if there's somebody who accepts you for who you are. And in some ways, that's tough to find in today's day and age. So many people are so picky, and they'll say red flag, green flag kind of bullshit. And then on the slightest little problems or conflict, they'll just take off and ghost you. So it's a weird situation in today's world as far as everybody thinks everybody's discardable. But when you do find somebody who holds on and kind of like goes through the tumultuous stuff with you, and you guys still are together, that means something. Honestly, that's something there right there. Yeah. Trevor's saying it was a hard fought game. Nothing was easy. Two teams went really hard at it, and they robbed Yak of his double 20 rebounds, 20 points. Ref BS. Okay, there's a lot in that comment right now. Let me just start right first. The hard fight, I don't believe that, Trevor. I think that this was a low quality NBA game, much like the Milwaukee game. I know that we can start saying, oh, our defensive numbers were better, but no, the reason why is because we played two teams that don't shoot very well. Milwaukee Bucks and the Detroit Pistons are not good shooting teams. And in fact, that's part of the reason why we should have beat their asses. Because honestly, they made so many bad shots and they missed a lot of shots too. And the fact that we still managed to lose to both of them is disheartening to me, honestly. And I'm not going to get on this train that's saying, oh, our defense was better in the last 2 days. No, I don't believe that. I think that we just played teams that aren't good shooters. And that's why it looked like that. And, I'm trying to be a positive person, but I'm also trying to be realistic and honest about this. And, the people touting the defensive numbers for the last two cup games, I don't do that. In some ways, I can see what it is. And these are low quality opponents that we got lost to that did not shoot well. That's what it is right there. Yeah. Let's see. Two teams really went hard at it. Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, it was low quality basketball. Let's just put it that way. This is low quality basketball. I mean, we've been watching G League games lately that are just chaos and low quality. And in some ways, this is the slip and scale down to like low quality basketball in the G League. And I hate that because I want our Raptors to be an ultimate professional team in the NBA that are at a top level. But they're not that anywhere near that right now. It's just not that way. Now, the thing about Jakob and his 2020 game, that's messed up. That is so messed up. And I wonder about this kind of crap. Like, do they just really hate us that much, the NBA? That they want to stab us and stick the knife in us and just rip it around inside of us a bit? Like, oh yeah, you're bottom feeder. Oh yeah, you're gonna lose all this stuff. We're gonna make the schedule so hard on you. We're gonna use referees against you in different ways, and we're gonna use the official scorekeeper against you also. When we make you think that your center got 20 points and 20 rebounds, the first time he's ever done that in his career, honestly, and put a graphic up and say Chris Bosh did it twice, Popeye Jones did it once, and now Jakob Pertl is the fourth time this ever happened. And then take away a rebound at the end of the game. Like, I don't know who's auditing these games at the end of it. I don't trust them. I feel like they're anti-Raptors because they've stolen a triple-double from Pascal Siakam in the last couple years. I think that they stole a triple-double from Scotty one day too. And they took a 2020 game from Jakob last night. It's just dirty, man. It's like insult to injury. It's just wrong. In some ways, look, why would you tell everybody that he got 20 rebounds during the game and the scorekeepers have that, but then you guys go back and look at it? Is there some little asshole that's sitting in a room watching every single rebound to account it? How do you guys go over this shit and do this at the end? Where was the point where he lost the rebound? In some ways, I want a last 2-minute report that explains why Jakob Pertl was wiped of one rebound last night to not get a 2020 game. Seriously, show me the play. Show me where y'all counted it originally, and then you took it away. I want to audit the auditor. How about that? Can we audit the auditor who audits the 20 rebounds that Jakob got, then you took away one at the end? Is it because you saw that was an accomplishment? Then y'all want to fucking shit all over us and say, no, you don't get this accomplishment. We're taking one rebound away from your big center. I don't know. What is this bullshit? Seriously, we don't have a whole lot to celebrate. Could we at least get a 2020 game from our center? No, because the scorekeeper's a little shithead. And in some ways, I'm wondering where the fuck is going on with that. Seriously, how can you do that to us? In some ways, it's like making a deal with somebody. Yeah, you got this deal. You just got this. Oh, I got to take this little bit back from you. Yeah, what the fuck is that? Seriously, you're going to sell me a bushel of apples and then you're going to take one apple back? What the fuck is that? Seriously, because to me, he is a 2020 guy last night, but no, officially it isn't going to count. And he doesn't get to have that. I don't think Jakob cares that much. In some ways, he's not going to lose any sleep about it. In some ways, he's very good about his philosophies and the way he looks at life. It's like, yeah, I don't care about this. It's not going to bug me. You know what? I'll get that 2020 game down the road still. Watch, motherfuckers. And you try and take my rebound away from me then. It's so dirty. Like Karthika, so many different people had been talking about it on Twitter already, and they fucking came back officially and said, no, you don't get it. Man, it's so dirty, man. That's that actually kind of pisses me off the most about whatever happened last night, that they did Jakob dirty like that. We saw how badass he was and working so hard in the game last night. They're going to take one rebound away from him so he doesn't get his first 2020 game. That's messed up. It's BS. Exactly. Yeah. Kareem's here. Good to see Kareem Thomas. Too many of you fucking idiots buy things you don't need with money you don't have, trying to impress people you don't even fucking like. Look in the mirror and keep it real with yourself. There you go. There you go. Jeez. I live with this. I live with this philosophy because honestly, I'm anti-consumer. This is about to be the age of the period of the year where everybody's guilted to go out and spend a bunch of money to buy gifts, but useless shit for different people in different places and stuff like that. It's all a scam for economics and trying to make the profits look good at the end of the year. Yeah, it's, man, in some ways, you know what? I love this comment by Kareem because I've heard this statement so many times. Too many of you are buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't even like. Yeah, think about that. That's why I opted out. I opted out. No, Lex ain't playing this game anymore. I'm not falling for this consumer hyper consumer culture we live in. No, you just because you tell me I need something in an advertisement on TV doesn't mean I need to go buy it. Just because the other people are going out and getting it and it's a fad and everybody's jumping on it, it doesn't mean I need to buy it. Just because everybody's saying you got to do this for Christmas, you got to do that for Christmas, doesn't mean I need to go out there and buy it. In some ways, I say, you know what? I'd much rather finally craft an artistic thing, like write a song or a poem for somebody I love, make a piece of art, do anything like that, than go and buy just overpriced, cheap ass goods they're going to break anyway for somebody just to show a token of my love. That's bullshit. In some ways, I reject the consumerism of the holiday season. I say if you guys enjoy it, you want to go do it, that's your life. Have the freedom. But understand that this is part of the mechanism. Some bullshit. And Kareem's exactly right. Well, you buying all this shit for people you're trying to impress that in some ways you don't even like. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's right. Keep it real with yourself. That's the best message right there. I like that. Kareem's got a word of wisdom today. That's interesting. He's saying, I got all my Christmas boxes in the house. I'm going to start unpacking and setting up during the Boston game. I'm going to listen to Jack's Christmas just to lift my spirits on what might be a massacre. I don't know what's going to happen to the Celtics and the Raptors. We have nothing to lose to them. Well, that's what it's expected. So in some ways, we have nothing to lose. We could go in there and we could crap the bed and lose by 30, and everybody like, yeah, what do you expect? They're the champs, and we're this team in the league with the worst record right now. What do you expect? We don't have some of our key players playing right now, like 5 of them. So it's like, what do you expect? In some ways, we shouldn't expect anything. We should just watch this game tonight with joy, and hopefully, who knows, a miracle could happen. Miracle could happen. Who knows? We could actually win this game. 2 competitors go in. Somebody's got to win. It's more likely they'll win, but who knows? You never know. You never, ever know. And that's one of the great things about the NBA, or it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore. In some ways, the NBA has been more controlling about their storylines and what they want to happen and what they don't want to happen. It used to be that on any given night, an NBA team could beat another NBA team regardless of record. And it's just different. It's a different league at this point. We'll have to see, but we have nothing to lose. Listening to Jack Armstrong's Christmas album is a great idea. And once again, I want to remind everybody, I'm going to have my Christmas song for Christmas Day this year. On the Christmas Day, I don't do a regular stream. I just come on for 5 minutes and I sing you a Raptors Christmas Carol. And you get that. And then I'll go and do my Christmas Day otherwise. So, yeah, that's what's coming up. Get ready for another great Raptor Freak Christmas Carol. Christmas inspired with the Raptors in mind on the 25th of December. You'll see that coming out. That's right. And yeah, Jack's album is awesome. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Yeah. It's getting like that. And so Kareem said he was going to start setting up Christmas if things get dark last night. And I heard that Mike Tyson lost to Jake Paul by unanimous decision. It wasn't a knockout as we predicted. It was more they fought. And well, at the end, the judges thought that Jake Paul did better. I don't know. The whole thing's a sham and bullshit anyway. It is what it is. In some ways, it does. It's kind of like in wrestling, when the older wrestler is done in their career, they want to lose the younger guy to put them over so that they can continue in the industry with that badge of honor of having that person beat by them. And I feel like that's partly what this is. If Jake Paul's going to have any kind of boxing career, Mike Tyson, old ass Mike Tyson beating him is not good for it. So I'm just glad Mike didn't get knocked out. I'm just glad Mike didn't get knocked out, and they had their spectacle. They made their money. They did what they did. And you know what? It is what it is. The judges decided it. The judges decided it. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Trevor's saying Mike Tyson flashback to his he gave Holyfield flashback. Did he try and bite his ear? I mean, that if he did that, that's totally staged too. That's just a homage to himself and biting somebody's ear. Did he try to do that? I didn't watch that thing. I was actually asleep by 11. I was like, you know what? We lost the Pistons. This is bullshit. I'm going to go to bed. And I fell asleep by 11 o'clock last night, which is not normal, honestly. I got my interviews, watched them. Darko and RJ talking about the game last night. Darko almost had one of the shortest interviews ever. Came out, got asked one question, and that was it. Doug Smith asked it. And then the lady was like, is that it? He's going to come in? That's really short. And then Doug's like, "Oh no, I'll ask one more question." And then, Darko, it's tough, man. Last night was rough in some ways to me. And it's not that I don't want to encourage people to get mad at this team or anything like that. I don't want people to encourage people to get mad at Masai or Darko or anybody else. It's just what it is, y'all. And in some ways, we got to sit in it just for a little while. Hopefully, for not long. Hopefully, we get healthy and it changes everything about our ability to win. But right now, we don't have a very good ability to win. And I'm going to break down more of the specifics of why we didn't win last night when we do the box score and stuff like that. Nako's saying we need to get way better in the fourth. I think Ron Holland is annoying. Shout out Yak and RJ and I guess Davion. Okay, so those are your 3 stars of the game: Yak, RJ, and Davion. All right, let me go look at mine real quick. Let's see. In my game last night, my number 1 star was Pirtle. Pirtle really should have gotten that. Holy crap, they took another rebound away from him. They put him at 18 now. They not only took 2 rebounds away from him, they took an offensive rebound, so he only has 10 offensive rebounds, and he's at 18 rebounds now. So they deducted 2 rebounds from Jakob, one more even after since. That's messed up. 25 points, 20 rebounds, NBA. I'm going to say it. He had 20 rebounds. Fuck you guys. I'm going to say it on my stream. Even if you guys officially put it down as 18, Jakob Poeltl got 25 points, 20 rebounds, you pieces of shit. 12 of 20 from the field, 1 of 4 at the free throw line. Yak, that is the knock I have for him last night, is he reappeared as the old Yak at the free throw line. He was shooting without his newer form that is much more deadly and getting the free throws to go in. He was pushing it again forward with no arc, and he was missing free throws badly like he would have like 2 years ago. So a lot of the work he's done with his free throw shooting went out the window last night. It could be that he was playing more physical and was more winded, partly fighting with people like Duran and Beef Stew. And it could be that was why he was 1 for 4 at the free throw line. And he was the guy who missed the most free throws for us last night in a close game that we only lost by 4. It is what it is. But in some ways, Jakob did not settle down at the free throw line. That may have been his biggest Achilles heel last night. 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, +6. Yeah, Yak was great, man. He was great. And we saw him making little shots around the basket. He was a money guy for making shots around there. It was awkward at times, but a lot of this stuff was just going in, and he was doing what he does. He's so essential and integral to our team. And man, fuck you guys for taking 2 rebounds away from him after the game. Fuck you guys for that. My second star is Jamison Battle, guys. Actually, I'm going to give some shine to Jamison. Jamison was seen in the last couple of days getting footwork instruction from Darko at practice. Darko was showing him this movement that he wants him to do so that he can get to his own shot without having to, get a catch and shoot from somebody. If he has the ball and he can make a little bit of a movement to get himself more open, he was showing the footwork to how to do it. And in some ways, he utilized it last night. Jamison Battle, 3 for 4 last night. All of his shots were from beyond the arc, and he made 3 3-pointers. And that's it, 3 for 4 from 3 with 9 points, 1 rebound. He was a -27. But I love the sure shotedness of him and that he was 3 for 4. And in some ways, I was glad that he was in at the end of the game also. In some ways, maybe he should have been taking the shots instead of Grady. Use Grady as a decoy and get Battle the shot instead, because he was actually the one who was hitting his shot last night, because Grady wasn't. Grady had a really hard time last night. My third star of the game is RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett didn't have the most efficient game, but he was volume and he got stuff happening for us when we needed it. Honestly, 6 for 18. So yeah, that's horrible shooting. I don't like that. 2 for 6 from 3, 8 of 9 at the free throw line. He only missed 1 free throw. I like that. RJ was very steady at the free throw line. 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 block, 1 turnover, 22 points in 35 minutes, +14. RJ still not totally playing at the high level he was at the beginning of the year right now, but it's a little bit better than what he was doing recently. And he is playing with some fire, some intensity, and stuff like that. One of the things I'm going to say about this, Raptors, once again, y'all need to beat your counterparts on the other side. It's not that the Pistons had any superstar or anything like that was beating us last night. They had different role players that stepped up and did their roles a very effective way and allowed them to win, whether it's Duran with his toughness and strength down low, with Beef Stew, whether it's Jaden Ivey doing what he does and what he does, and Marcus Sasser came in and did a couple things that were important at certain times. They had key people stepping in. Cade Cunningham did not shoot well last night. And in some ways, they were ripe for the picking. And I was right. Tobias Harris adds up to winning because he understands it. He's a veteran. He's been in a lot of playoff games, and he's very steadying. And in some ways, his presence on the court was the most veteran pro presence as far as keeping things. Him and Malik Beasley. Beasley was their leading scorer, and he's money 3. And in some ways, those two guys were the key for them to win last night, was Beasley and Harris. Now, they got double-digit scoring out of all of their starters last night, and then Ron Holland off the bench making this. Yeah, Ron Holland was annoying. He was annoying. So was that Moore guy, too, Wendell Moore Jr. Those guys were energy personified. They were all over the place, and they were annoying, Nako. You were right. You were right. But these guys, they had a good contribution from all kinds of different people, and they won matchups over us in different places. And I'm going to talk about the place where the worst part of it was. It was really, really annoying. Nako's saying if Drew has an injury issues this year, that's real bad for Boston. Yeah, he's a very key, important person for them, for their success. And yeah, they don't want to have him out. It is what it is. We'll just have to see how the season goes on. In some ways, we're kind of taking a bye for this year, and we're just going to go for a tank, I guess, because I don't see us having any kind of chance for this whole entire year, even unless we come back healthy and we go on a real run and really get something going. But right now, I'm giving up on it. And in some ways, it's not that I'm becoming a tank person. I gotta allow life to be what it is at this point. Whether it's the fucking bullshit in the United States, whether it is the Raptors are at the bottom of the league. I just gotta allow it to be what it is. It sucks, man. Trevor's saying the Magic beat the Sixers in the NBA Cup game. That does not surprise me. The Orlando Magic have the best ranked defense in the league right now. It's amazing. They have the number 1 defense in the whole entire league right now. They came out with the gold, the little the efficiency rankings where they have all the logos on the axis of the offense and the defense. And the Raptors have risen up, and they're doing better with their defensive rankings at this point. But their offensive rankings pretty much staying the same right around there. But that is the movement we've made. We were at the bottom of that diagram, and we've kind of rose up a little bit higher on the third one for the season. I like looking at those. The things I'm talking about. They post them every week, and it's an axis that has offense and defense on the different axes. And they put all 30 of the NBA teams' logos on it and plot them where they are in the ranks. And you can kind of see where you're performing as a team. And, well, the Raptors have gotten better with defense since the season started, at least. That's what that graph has been showing. Let's see. Nako's saying Grady running across the court, though, getting that basket was pretty great. Yeah, I'm not even remembering which one you're talking about as far as running across the court and getting that basket. I don't even remember. All right, let me break down Grady a little bit more for what happened last night. Now, the problem is in the last few games with IQ out, we have not gotten any scoring from the point guards. The Davion and Jamal have been silent with their shots, and they have just not been contributing. And this is a big problem because we need all hands on deck. We need to have people contributing to help with building the score up to against the other team. When we don't have people like Scotty and IQ out there that are huge scorers for us, we need everybody to chip in. And it's been bad. Like Shed and Mitchell have been a dead note on the piano as far as offensively contributing. And last night, unfortunately, we had bad shooting nights from 3 with Oshai and Grady also last night. But together, Oshai and Grady were 2 for 15 from the 3-point line last night. 2 for 15. That's really bad. And like Oshai was missing open corner threes that he would normally always make. And Grady was 1 for 10 from 3-pointer last night by himself. That's really bad. That's too bad. In some ways, I don't know if he's agitated. Maybe Detroit was good at running out at him, or Grady was just a little bit more off last night than normal. I mean, these are normal things that a shooter like him's going to go through. So I can't get that mad at him. He still managed to score 16 points somehow, some way, even though he shot 1 for 10 from 3. Now, I'm telling you, Davion Mitchell, 5 points. So Jamal Shed, 4 points. That's 9 points from the point guard position. Between the two of them, we didn't even get to double digits. That's a problem. That is a problem. We're not getting enough. They had 6 double-digit scores on the other side, all the starters and Ron Holland. we had 3 starters score double digits, and that's it. That's it. Just RJ, Grady, and Jakob were the only 3 guys on the whole Raptors team that scored in double digits. That's no good. That's anemic. And we got to have other guys contributing somewhere, somehow, whether it's Boucher, whether it's the rookies, whoever. So we'll go over the guys who didn't really score that well last night. Davion Mitchell, and Matt Devlin called him Donovan Mitchell last night by accident at one point. It's too bad. Sometimes that happens. Their names are very similar. They have the same number. I get it. Davion Mitchell, 2 for 9 overall, 1 of 2 from 3, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 turnovers. So a 5-to-2 assist to turnover ratio, a +9 with 5 points. They had Davion mic'd last night, and that was kind of fun to hear him. He was caught saying to Jason Goebel that he likes Toronto. He likes playing here. He's really into it. And they heard him encouraging. We got some insight to how he is a floor general on the court and what he's saying with communication to different people. We saw him talking to Jakob on the bench about how they were doing coverages and how they were going to run the system. There's a lot of interesting insight in hearing Davion talk on the court. But, man, I wish he would make his open shots. It's tough because they're leaving him open because they don't think he'll make it, and that's been a problem for us. We need to make them very scared of you shooting, and in some ways you got to tighten it up. So, yeah, it's too bad. He was 2 for 9. I do like the assist, five assists to 2 turnovers. That's pretty good, and 6 rebounds really helps. And a +9 shows that he was playing winning basketball. But he can't contribute more for points. And I know some ways Detroit was not allowing us to get in transition. This is part of the game plan against us, is limit the Raptors from getting fast break, because that's the place where they flourish and they can actually get anything going good. So if other teams are really making their schemes and their defensive plays around not allowing fast break for us, that hinders us. And specifically people like Mitchell and Abaji, because those guys flourish in the fast break. So, yeah, Abaji, 4 of 15, 1 of 5 from 3. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 9 points, and a -4 in 36 minutes. That's just not going to cut it. Abaji, we're depending on you for a certain amount of scoring at this point, since what you showed us. And honestly, you make 1 or 2 of those threes in the corner, it changes a lot right there. In fact, the score was only a 4-point loss. And in some ways, there's so many different places we could have had some success that would have changed the outcome of the game. But alas, it didn't. And it happened the way it did. It's just too bad. It's just too bad. And some of those shots go in a little bit earlier. The margin's different. Maybe we have a bigger lead. RJ Barrett talking in his press conference after the game, saying that we screwed up in the fourth quarter because we had a lead at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and we were at home, and we should have built on that lead, and we let it go and let it go away right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter really was kind of owned by the Pistons, 26-17, outscoring us in the fourth quarter. So it's like, I get it, Raptors. You're learning the very baby lessons. You guys might as well be a little papoose in a swaddling, as far as you don't even know how to crawl or walk right now. You need to learn how to crawl again, because we can't even play basketball or run around at all, because we can't even walk, let alone crawl. So that's where we're at with our team and the rebuild and where we are in infancy. We're a very, very, very tiny baby, and we don't know what we're doing yet, and we need other people to help us right now. And it's just going to be that way until we show signs that we're showing some sort of growing up and getting older and understanding. We've got to crawl to walk, and then walk to run. And in some ways, we're a couple steps behind. And the Pistons have been in the place where they needed to be a little baby and be, not being able to do nothing. They couldn't crawl yet. Last year, they had the longest losing streak almost in the history of the NBA. So in some ways, we don't want to be like them this year. We need to get wins to break up the losing streaks, because we don't want to get near any of that. So, yeah, the Pistons were this last year, and now we can see that they're getting some more success this year. Well, that's what's going to happen for the Raptors too. We're not going to stay down here for long, hopefully, and we'll start coming up like the Pistons came up from last year. That's what I'm saying. Grady Dick, 4 for 17, 1 of 10 from 3, 7 for 7 at the free throw line. I love that. 5 rebounds, 3 turnovers, a +13 with 16 points in 35 minutes. Yeah, Grady could have easily hit one of those 2 shots at the end of the game, and it changes everything a whole lot. Maybe it puts us in overtime and Taylor Swift traffic, but whatever. Grady hit the shot. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about traffic? You want that win. You want that NBA Cup win. In some ways, it's annoying because we're at home. We're playing against a team that historically we could beat. Has not been a very good team in the last few years, and we're still losing at home in a game that's very important called an NBA Cup game. That's frustrating. That's frustrating as hell. And well, Grady's shooting 1 for 10 in that game is no good. And I'm sure in some ways today Grady's beating himself up for shooting so poorly last night in some ways in a game that was very important in some ways. So it is what it is. It's too bad that our Jayhawks were 2 for 15 from three-pointer last night. That's not normal. And in some ways, Detroit's lucky that happened. Chris Boucher, 14-minute appearance, 2 points, 1 of 5 from the field. He missed both the 3 attempts, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, a -10. Just not a factor. Chris has been a factor in most games this season so far, but he wasn't in this one. And maybe it was because of the big beefy guys, Beef Stew and Jalen Duren. Those guys are very strong and big players. Bruno Fernando came in for 10 minutes, got 3 points, 1 of 2 at both the free throw line and field goals, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Bruno, not very effective last night. In some ways, the big size of him is a good counterbalance with Isaiah Stewart, but still, he didn't score hardly at all for us and didn't help with that. The bench points were pretty bad, actually, with only 18 bench points coming off the bench. Jonathan Mobo, scoreless last night, 0 for 3, missed the only 3 he took, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 turnover. Yeah, even Jonathan's a little bit less on that. Somebody's trying to talk to Darko about rookie walls. That he said, no, there's no such thing as a rookie wall this early in the season. It's just more that the rookies are doing normal things that rookies do. They come out and they play really exceptionally to start the season, but there's ebbs and flows. It's not like everything just happens in a constant. You got to understand the rookies will look really, really good at times, like Battle and Shed and Mobo have, but then also they're going to come down to earth from time to time too. And this is part of it. In some ways, this is what's happening. Jamison Battles had rookie mistakes this week and came down to earth in other games. He played good last night, but then Mobo has played exceptionally well at certain games, but last night he was more ordinary. Jamal Shed, he's done way beyond things for his rookie year and his experience so far in the NBA, but he also comes down to earth and shows that he's still a rookie at times also. And that's just how it is. Speaking of Jamal Shed, he had 10 minutes, 2 for 4 from the field, misses only 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 4 points, a -17 in 10 minutes. Yeah, that second squad came out there and they did not do well. The Raptors started really well with their starters. In the beginning of the game, we're winning. We were playing really well, had the game under control. And then we put out a 3 rookie lineup and things kind of fell apart because these guys just, they're green. They just don't understand. They got to ripen up as players and learn. And that's that. Garrett Temple came in for 2 minutes and got a turnover, and that was it. So, yeah, it's just no bench production. And who's there to help us at this point? Because so many guys are hurt. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's right. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Another winnable game, but all part of the process. That Jakob Robb is frustrating. He totally deserved the 2020. And, yes, we lacked effort yesterday. Yeah, I don't even know if it's effort. It's not effort. They just missed shots. And they didn't play – the Pistons are an interesting team. They're physical. They're kind of big, but they're not good shooters. And they outvetted us last night. Seriously, in some ways, it's like Jakob and RJ are vets right now, and RJ is very young to be like one of the older vets. Jakob makes sense, but in some ways, Jakob is a player type that can only control certain aspects of the game. And he can't control like being the overwhelming badass scorer who's going to take over the game and win the game for us with scoring. As much as it looks like he might possibly be able to do that, he can't. And in some ways, RJ is still trying to figure that out, but the scouting reports are out on him. And also Brady. And this is the thing that Darko would say, that RJ is much better with the distractions of IQ and Scotty out there and him playing from the weak side and kind of being the guy who comes in and takes the ball as a emergency valve. In some ways, not having Scotty and Emmanuel out there is hurting RJ because the focus from the other team's defense is squarely on him. And if you have Scott out there, he's a great energy. He's a great magnet for all the attention. And then RJ gets freed up and he gets to do what he wants. So that's part of the problem right there. RJ and Grady started really strong this season, and well, the scouting reports are getting more centered around them and how to stop them. And that's part of why they're having more trouble recently with their scoring. Is right there. It's right there. Nako's saying getting rid of rebounds after the fact is so petty. Yeah, I think it is too. Like, who's doing this? Who did this? I want to know more about the inner workings. Who the hell is the person that did this? Is it somebody that sits at the side of the court at our arena that's doing this? Who is it? Is it official NBA scorekeeper somewhere in Secaucus watching from far away? Then they're just like little dicks, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we don't want the Raptors to get a 2020 game behind Jakob Pearl tonight. Let's race a couple of these rebounds. Let's go ahead and race two of them just to be a real dick." Because they did. They raced one initially to 19 last night, and now I'm waking up this morning seeing that they've erased another one on the box score, and he has only 18 rebounds now. It's crazy. It's so petty. So petty. Kaz is saying, "Good morning, Raptor freaks. Scorekeepers are crooks." Yeah, I guess the whole NBA is full of crooks in different places and stuff like that. If I had the game tape unedited and I could just watch it, I may go back and like actually try and count all the rebounds for Jakob and try and find where they were and really audit the auditor and see how accurate they are, because something's fishy about this. I mean, like I said, they did this to Siakam a couple years ago where he had a triple double, and we said it. Yeah, he's got his third triple double in his entire career. And then all of a sudden at the end of the game, they said, no, he doesn't have a triple double because they took some of his stats away from him at the end. Now, in that case, it was a team rebound that was shared by him and Boucher. And they decided that they'd go ahead and give the rebound to just the team. They didn't even give it to Boucher. This happens sometimes. If these guys go up and grab the rebound together, they will not give the rebound to either one of them. And they'll just mark it on the score sheet as a team rebound. That is actually a real stat. Team rebound, where both of them rebounded at the same time. Yeah, it's so fucked up. In that, some ways, is a way they could shave stuff from people and say, oh, there was a team rebound. Sorry, neither one of you guys get credit for it. And it just goes into a category called team rebound that nobody goes on their score, doesn't get on their basketball card, doesn't go into their average or anything like that. It's so fucking bullshit. It's such fucking bullshit. That's right. It's such fucking bullshit. That's right. Wayne is here. Good to see Sergeant Wayne Strainer. Let's see what he's saying right now. Freaks, our recruits are showing who they are, and some can stay and improve. We appreciate Shed, and he's not the cause of anything, but G League is a must. Strangely, I want more Bruno and Battle. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on this. In some ways, I could see, well, Bruno definitely is necessary just because we need size. We need a veteran size, big size that can actually hold weight out there. And then Battle is very shooter, and with him and Grady out on the court at the same time, that battle dick formation has a lot of spacing and promise to it. And in some ways, that would be very helpful. In some ways, that weapon down in G League isn't totally necessary. In some ways, I would say Jamison Battle is, out of all the rookies, we want to keep him up on the upper level more just for his potency as a weapon. Now, Shed and Mobo could definitely go down to 905 and get more work and good things happening for them in that environment down there. But they need to keep the chaos away from them and be controlling and be controlled and very deliberate, disciplined basketball players, because the chaos down there can ruin them too if they get all caught up in it and the bad habits of most of the G League. So in some ways, they got to come down there with professionalism and play at a very high professional level. Part of the problem with Shed is he's a risk taker. I've seen him try and pass passes to people in traffic, or they're a good idea, thread the needle, and it's not happening correctly. There's getting deflected or stolen. And that's the thing. Shed, you got to really figure out when you need to do your instincts to pass like that, because sometimes y'all are passing into traffic and it's bad things are happening from it. So there's a lot of learning still for players like Shed and Mobo. Mobo, has been fantastic, but Darko said that Mobo in some ways needs to work on his spacing with the other bigs near the basket. He's crowding things. Now he has a good intention to be down there to try and help with getting the board and put it back if we miss it, but he's also getting called out by Darko Rajakovic for crowding the space around the basket for our offensive bigs to try and go up and make scores because he's too close by. So in some ways, Jonathan may need to go and lurk outside the three-point line and crash the boards running in from outside instead of kind of hanging around near the basket. This is something Darko said himself yesterday in an interview. Mike's saying, if healthy, we would win for sure. Yeah, that I you know what? I don't know if that's true, but I think we'd have a way better chance. That's for sure. Scotty's out there. That'd be awesome. In some ways, I don't like how much Scotty's been hurt since OG left. In some ways, we need you to get healthy. We've seen Scotty yesterday wearing a mask at practice, looking like Batman and with a bloodshot red eye from his injury. It looks so like a graphic novel, like somebody wrote it and put it in ink, like my friend Leonard Kirk. That is what it looks like to me. Is Scotty? It looks like a comic book character with his mask and his bloodshot eye. It's gonna be very interesting to see him come back, and hopefully it'll be sooner than later. In some ways, it really is a good sign that he was out there practicing, even without no contact, and putting up shots and getting ready. Because who knows? Maybe he is back by the end of November. That would be fantastic because we need these guys back bad. And maybe we weather the storm, get past this NBA Cup bullshit and all this bad schedule at the beginning of the year for us. And maybe things are a little bit nicer and easier, and we us very soon, very, very soon. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yeah. Nameless is saying, what's an old guy like you doing up past 11 anyways? You should know better than that. Well, this is a West Coast trip. What are you going to do, Nameless? I cover the Raptors, and they just came back from playing in LA a couple games, in Sacramento and Denver. Yeah, that's what happens when they go out west. Old Lex has to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning. And well, last night the game got done in they started right at 7, which is smart because of Taylor Swift concert, and they get out of there at 9:30, which is good because that concert ain't getting out till like 10 or 11. So they did get out there in time to get to the airport to get to Boston, which in some ways is important. If you're going to lose a game, you're going to lose it. Well, just get the fuck out of there, get to Pearson, and get to Boston, and get out there before the Swifties get out of the Skydome. Is what I'm saying right there. It's just what it is, man. But yeah, uh, I am, I'm older. I'm going to be 50 next year. But, I like staying up still. If I can stay up later, I will sometimes. And I do. I stayed up till like 4 a.m. every night last week when we were on the West Coast. But last night, even after the game, sometimes I'll stay up till 1 after a game on the East Coast time. And I'll do like watch all the interviews and really go over the box score and the highlights a lot to be ready for the show today. But I was tired. I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm going to bed. And I just closed my eyes and I was asleep by 11. That's not normal for me, honestly. I'm almost always up till midnight. Yeah, who knows? We'll keep doing what we got to do depending on what the Raptors are doing. That's right. Smooth saying, good morning. I didn't watch the fight, but it went as I thought. I heard the Netflix stream was terrible, though. It was like watching on a dial up in the 90s. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I didn't get caught up in all that hype. Once again, these kind of things are big distractions from the problems in the world. People are going to be distracted now. Now, this is the funny thing. This guy who just won the presidency in the States, he wants to be in our attention all over the place. He's an attention hog, a little whore for attention. But now that he's won and it's in his city, he wants to hide. He doesn't want anybody to see him because he wants to go off and do all the criminal shit he's going to do. And less media attention is better for him now at this point. Yeah, this fight is a distraction for the masses. It's just like they say, the Roman Colosseum, they put on that entertainment to keep people away from understanding the crookedness of the Roman government and the different things going on. So there's always going to be a spectacle or some sort of bullshit that will keep the common masses' attention. And this is what that fight was last night in some ways to me. In some ways, I don't give a shit about this fight. In some ways, it's like it's an exhibition. It's not a really good fight set up in a lot of ways because, it is true. Mike's 58. He's not a spring chicken. And in some ways, it was going to be a circus no matter what. I fight each other or something like that, or the old school or something like that. But in some ways, I don't even like boxing anyway. We know it's been tainted throughout the years with corruption and different weird stuff about it. And, it's just like a lot of different things. Like it's like pro wrestling in some ways, is what I say. Yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying right now. Nameless is saying Pearl is my favorite player, not just because he has hairy shoulders either. Yeah, Pearl is a tough guy. Pearl is he's a nice guy, and in some ways he's very strong. In some ways, it was funny. At one point in the game last night, I saw him talking to Beef Stew, lining up for free throws. And I'm wondering what they're talking about because we know Beef Stew has a personality to him. We've seen this guy get marked by LeBron and bleeding really badly and come after him like he wanted to murder him. And Beef Stew is a fiery player, a very physical guy. He may be one of the strongest guys in the league, right? But Isaiah Stewart apparently respects Jakob Poeltl's strength because they were talking like they were very much peers and equals. And Beef Stew is not going to punk Jakob, and Jakob's not going to punk Beef Stew. There's a mutual respect. And I like that. I like that. In some ways, Isaiah Stewart's not a dirty player. He's a very physical player, but he will use enforcer type skills at times, like what happened with LeBron that time and in other places. He's not a dirty player on purpose. He will do it on purpose if there's a reason to. But for the most part, he's just a guy who's trying to hold his own weight and his strength in the game and make an impact in the game to help his team win. And I saw that moment. Jakob and Stewart have a respect as strong, very strong people in the NBA. It could very well be Stewart has battled him over the years, and he's like, "Yeah, you're a big dude, Yak. I can't move you like I can move other people." So there's definitely a mutual respect there. That's interesting to me. Brian saying, "What's up, Freak Nation? Rap's not going to win the fourth on 721 with five turnovers. But Lex, I think they heard me yesterday here when I mentioned those keys to win. All right, all right. Well, they didn't do it though. They didn't do it. They didn't get that win. Yeah. Let's see. I'm 7 of 21 with five turnovers is what they shot in the fourth. Yeah, they didn't have a really easy time scoring in the fourth. One of the problems we're having right now is because we don't have enough weapons on our offense. Scotty and Emmanuel are out. They're really the defensive ratcheting up of intensity by the teams late in the game. The other side is really having an effect on stymieing us and not allowing us to score all of a sudden. They've been very effective at making it harder on us with getting any baskets at key times of the game just because they ratchet up their defense. And we struggle. We struggle to find open shots. We work the ball around. We stagnate because somebody doesn't pass it. You know, we're hesitant to pass passes because people have been stealing the ball and getting the passing lanes. You know, our offense was running a lot more smoother at the beginning of the year when things were kind of connecting, but they're not connecting right now. And assholes in the press were calling it the offense is in the mud. It's kind of sticking in the mud right now. And Darko got kind of mad at that. He's like, no, I don't see that. We're doing what we're supposed to do. It's just we're not doing it as well as we're supposed to be successful in executing it. So I don't know. Our offense has stalled out because of increased intensity from opponents in their defensive end. And that has definitely was a problem last night in the fourth quarter. Definitely a problem last night in the fourth. Trevor's saying there's an old saying, be careful what you ask for, because when you get it, you might not want it. Just like the Raptors fans was calling for a rebuild. Now they have it and they don't want it. Crazy. I mean, listen, it's not like we have any choice in these kind of things sometimes. Once again, it's the front office who does it. The fans can say what they want to say, but ultimately they're not really running the team. And second of all, you know, the people that wanted to rebuild and they are not happy with it right now, well, they're just idiots. They're not really knowledgeable fans that understand what it takes to do what you do in the NBA as far as to win games and to have a roster that's really good and competes. And in some ways, you know, the casuals are going to be like that. Casual going casual. And if they're confused and upset that we're losing more right now, but they're also the people that wanted to get high draft picks, well, you can't win because you're not allowing yourself to have a scenario where you can be okay with what's happening. And for me, I'm okay with what's happening because I understand I don't control this. And that's part of the problem that some fans have. They have such big egos. They think that they have a hand in this. And when things don't go exactly how they whine and cry and they lash out and they get toxic about the team and they say stupid shit about our coach and our front office and stuff like that. So I'm going to say I don't have any control of this. I'm along for the ride. And I'm a loyal Raptors fan. I'm going to go with them through the fire of losing and all the different things that are happening. And, well, we're going to learn from this, and eventually we'll get better. We'll start getting better again and again. It's just what it is. Smooth saying Toronto is just in it right now, man. Raptors will probably finish with a 15 to 21 wins this year. They will ease Scotty back and make sure the lottery pick is as high as possible. You know, that probably isn't all that off on what's going to happen. Seriously, because you know, there is a lot of you know, I don't know. I think that the schedule is going to get easier, and if our health is better at the same time, we could have a really, really good run of period of time during the season. And it could be that we stack up some really good wins, and we do get. I just want to get 26 wins. Once again, I just want to improve from last year's total if we can. That is the best. Right now, we're on track to win only like 12 games this year. But if we can get double that, I would be so much more happy. And it really does have a lot to do with Scotty and IQ coming back. Kelly Olynyk would help immensely right now, a lot too, because of his veteran know-how, and he's actually understands how to help the team win in close games in certain ways with what he can do. Bruce Brown, another one that could be very helpful with his knowledge of what he's done in the NBA so far. So unknowledgeable as a group overall. RJ is probably one of the most, as I said, knowledgeable players on our team, but still, what is he? He's like in his 5th year in the league. He has not been in this league that long. So it's not like we have long time grizzled vets like a Tobias Harris on our team right now. And that's just how it is. Brian's saying, let's look forward and see if we can put a shocker together against the Celtics. Keep their energy and positivity, win or lose. Yeah, they're trying and they're doing a good job. They really are. I feel like in most cases, the Raptors are doing a good job, but it's tough, man. You got to hang your head and feel it. And in some ways, looking at the newspaper and the standings is not going to help y'all Raptors. So just keep working on what you're doing. In some ways, just think of yourselves as an 0-0 team. Then you don't have any record right now. You're 0-0 every single day. And just go to the arena and see if you can get that first win on a 0-0 record. Wipe that record out of your head. Don't think 2-11. Don't even think about that shit. Just do what you got to do, and maybe you make something amazing happen. We'll have to see. Smooth saying this year's sacrifice for the greater good. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. Let's look at the team stats real quick from the game last night. We had 41% shooting for the Pistons, 36% shooting for us. See, they didn't even shoot that well, but we shot worse, and that's too bad. We got more shot attempts than them, 97 to 95. But they made 4 more shots than us, 39 to 35. So they did, that's a problem. If we make a couple more shots, we actually win this game. So I'm going to blame the shooting tonight for this one. That's not the free throws, and so it's not the turnovers, because they did really good with the turnovers. And RJ said, yeah, in some ways, there's a reason why we did so well with the turnovers, because they pressure so much, and in a weird way, because that's more like how we practice with Davion and Jamal. I'm more used to having so much pressure on there, and it's easier to avoid turnovers when it's like that, is what RJ said. It's crazy. We made the same amount of threes as them, and we shot less threes. So we did beat them on the 3-point line, even though we were 8 of 31 and we shot 26%. They shot 21% from 3. That's what I'm saying. We just played 2 teams that are horrible 3-point shooting teams and still managed to lose. When we play teams that are really good from 3-point range, we're in big trouble. And that's a team like one tonight. Free throw line, we were 77%, 17 of 22. That we missed 5 free throws. 3 of them were by Jakob. And in some ways, I'm going to give them a pass on that, because still almost 80% at the free throw line is fine for a team. I'd say 75 is the lowest. They shot 77%. The other side shot 65%, and we still lost to them. I'm telling you, they had loser stats. We should have won this game last night. The rebounds were 56 to 53. They won him by 3. We had 21 assists. We didn't connect enough as a team. The stocks were 13 for us, and they had 16. Turnovers, 15 turnovers for us, 14 for them. Fast break points, only 21 for us. And we beat them in the points in the paint, 52 to 48. So a lot of the stats were on our side. They shot worse than us from 3. We had better fast break and better points in the paint, but still it was a 4-point win for them. And that's the difference, is the field goal percentage, not shooting as well as we normally do. Just shooting a little bit better, Oshai and Grady would have got us this win last night. Just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. Name is saying, that's right, Lex. You're a realist. Just deal with the facts of life. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. That's what it is, facts of life. Okay, Mindy Cohen and Mrs. Garrett. All right, there. Carlos saying, I just have a wallpaper of Flag and Bailey on my phone to stay sane. I mean, yeah, you want to go look ahead and feel good about the stuff that's maybe coming down the road with the pick. Who knows? We'll have to see. Take it day by day, step by step. And even if it's difficult and tough to navigate a loss and your feelings and stuff like that, we still got to just do what we got to do. We just got to do what we. Shere Khan's here. Good to see Shere Khan, a longtime Raptor freak. I appreciate Shere Khan. I'm sure Shere Khan misses Raptors tonight. A great segment show, but this is a losing season. In some ways, those would be awkward shows every single time, with everybody kind of like going, and feeling like this after every game. So, yeah, they didn't want to do it this year. Randy Urban is bowed out and tapped out for this year. But at least we still get Raptors in the morning. And Shere Khan, your questions can be coming here and we can discuss them here. I know what's up with you. Always good to see Shere Khan. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Been a long time, but I had to jump in the conversation after last night's game. The issue is not shooting or defense. We have the roster to do both. The issue is that we don't have a closer on the floor. That's an interesting thing. In some ways, maybe we have a youngling closer that is just not savvy and experienced enough to be in these situations and tested and true to it, and that's Grady Dick. In some ways, RJ is the same, but a little bit ahead. He's very daring to take these shots. He's done that this year, but he has not made them. And in some ways, there's been times where RJ is very money and he will take over the game and try and be the closer. I have more faith in RJ getting to this point sooner than some of our past Raptors players that we were calling out for them to be more closer. Siakam comes to mind, number one. But RJ has the more natural ability to be a closer eventually. It's just that once again, it's all on the realm of what they're being asked to do. When we think about RJ in New York in his earlier career, Jalen Brunson would be this guy stepping into the closer spot to try and close out the game for his team. And RJ may not be called in those situations, or Julius or somebody like that would get the call over him. So in some ways, RJ is learning to be this closer guy, and it's trial and error. And we've had some errors so far, and keep trialing, and hopefully that error will be a success soon. Grady Dick, same thing. In some ways, Grady had his first shot to win the game last night ever. Have we had Grady try and take the big shot to win? Maybe in some of the junk games at the end of last year when everybody's hurt and we were playing Muhammadu and Javon Freeman Liberty. Yeah, maybe Grady was trying to win games at the end like that. But in some ways, Grady did something last night that he's never done before. Had the big shot himself to try and take it to be the closer for us. Great comment, Shere Khan. I appreciate it. Of course, Scotty still has to prove himself as a closer too. Emmanuel's maybe the guy on the team that's the most likely to be a true closer already. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Nameless is dapping Shere Khan for returning to the chat. Love to see him here. Smooth saying, remember, guys and girls, this is a 1 year rebuild only. 1 year only. Okay, I hope so. Watch this team like it's 1995 all over again. Reframing it like that really helps. Yeah, I mean, except they're totally different types of teams. The team in 1995 was a veteran team that knew how to play in the NBA. It's just that they didn't have enough talent to win. And this team has enough talent to win. They just don't know how to do it. That's the difference. It really is kind of a flip. Oliver Miller, Willie Anderson, Jean Tabak. In some ways, that was helpful to guide Damon Stoudemire, Rookie of the Year, in the first year, because he did kind of have a veteran core around him to help him. Right now, it's the opposite. We've got, instead of Damon Stoudemire, one rookie with a bunch of vets, or Vince Carter with a bunch of vets at his era. There's one vet and a bunch of rookies around them, and it's like Jakob Poeltl and a bunch of rookies around him. So it's a little bit different. But I like the sentiment of what you're saying, Smooth, that we need to take this like it is, as far as like an expansion team in the era we were at in 95, 30 years ago. Yeah, I think that's right. Shere Khan saying Grady had 2 chances to hit game winners, but just off. RJ is awesome, but he's not the one for the Raps. IQ has potential to be that guy, but in the end, we need Scotty. Yeah, all this is true. I mean, it's good to have a diversity of guys who can step up and do this in different ways to help at the end of the games, get their different numbers called on different nights, depending on what's going on. Yeah, in some ways, one was called last night and one did not make it. 9 has been called recently and he did not make it. Well, will 4 or 5, when they come back, will they get called upon it and they will make it? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I think Grady is a natural game winner kind of guy down the road, just because of his high percentage and his great skills and his ability to get shots in all kinds of different places. I think RJ, because of his determination and his competitiveness, is one of those guys also. So I wouldn't cut him short yet. It's just that they've had opportunities and they've failed. And that's why maybe you're thinking, oh, these guys shouldn't be these guys. I think they are. It's just that they got to go through the failure to find the success. And they'll get there. They'll get there. Wayne saying Chris Boucher, as a veteran, has to be more cerebral and stable in his play. Energy is one thing, but we need consistent points from Chris. Oshai and Grady shot badly. Chris needs to grab the mantle. Chris is a weird player. In some ways, he goes above and beyond. He does so much to contribute, but also at the same time, he is a role player. He is a bench player. And he isn't a guy who's going to just take over the game and absolutely make his mark in a way like with scoring usually. He has at times. He's been a very effective scorer and picked it up for us. but it's usually his energy and rebounding that's going to be the big change and shifting things in the game. I don't put too much on Chris's shoulders because in some ways he is supposed to, in some ways he had a bad game off the bench and he didn't help out. But in some ways they were all kind of like that last night. They were just all having a kind of a weird thing. And we can also say this is the first game home after a long road trip. This has all been designed very nefariously, very, very nefariously. Now let's look at the Celtics. The Celtics have not played since Wednesday. They have been off since Wednesday. They've had 2 days off and they're going to play us tonight. And we played just last night in an NBA Cup game. So it's like the schedule is just really designed and crafted in a very, very diabolical way, honestly. And it's much as we get the shaft and we have the most difficult kind of stuff happening, there are teams out there that get red carpet kind of schedules. They're absolutely beneficial and helpful to them in different ways. Let's not get it twisted. The schedule makers can make it really hard for some people and make it really easy for others. And they made it really hard for us again this year, obviously, because of the strength of schedule and our very young team. They had that in mind. They knew this. They knew this coming in. When they made the schedule, they knew this. And even with the rookie class, I can winders this shit. They saw our second draft day was Shed and Mobo, and we got Walter. We got all these different great young rookies. Well, they knew that we wouldn't be able to play them together with our team if our G League is on the road to start the season. In some ways, the benefits of having your G League team at home around your team when they're there is something. And in some ways, we weren't around them, and they're still on the road. They're in Washington D.C. right now to play Capital City Go-Go tomorrow. And well, Shed and Mobo need to be in Toronto or with them on the road in Boston. So in some ways, they made it so we couldn't start the season with Jamal Shed as our point guard because we didn't get the cushy schedule where our teams were in the same place at the same time, like other teams did in the G League. Seriously, some of these other teams got their home teams at the same time around each other, so they're already doing double duty. Think about the Lakers and Bronny and how he's already been declared he's not going to do any road games for the G League for the South Bay Lakers, but he'll play all the home games in LA. In some ways, that's already been happening for him. Meanwhile, the 905 have to play 5 road games in a row over 2 weeks, actually 2.5 weeks, and that we don't have any chance to send our two ways or our rookies back and forth without getting air travel and crossing the border and all this kind of bullshit. And in some ways, our injuries make it so that we need to keep these guys up there. So Shed isn't even down on the 905 and able to flip from team to team very easily. It's very diabolical. And some of it's very well thought out and very methodical in what they're doing with the diabolical. It's a methodical diabolical is what I'm saying, guys. It's very methodical. Yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Mike's saying our 2 best players and others were out, and we are still in these games using a lot of rookies. We'll have moments like last night with Grady's late game turnover. It's learning experience. Yeah, we got to start somewhere, and we're going to have to make mistakes and go through the fire of failure to get to the success eventually. Nobody just comes in and they're just bona fide success no matter what, over and over again, no matter what. No, that's not true. Even LeBron James, when he came in the league as a Cleveland Cavalier, he went through years of learning the ropes of the NBA and having not successful years with the Cavaliers in his very young career. So we got to understand this is just part of the process for everybody. And the one thing that I will caution Raptors fans and Raptors Nation, don't rip a draft of what you've already written when you have very good quality stuff and start all over again. In some ways, that's the biggest problem where teams get mired in being a rebuild perennially every year is they get too impatient and they make moves and they say, oh, this isn't working. They start over. We got to change the coach. We got to start over. Sometimes that's the worst thing you can do because your coach or your player that you give up on finally turns a corner after that and you miss out on it because you didn't have the patience to see it through. That's what I will caution Raptors Nation is like, don't react immediately to what's happening right now and get all bent out of shape. Understand this is a long-term thing you need to think about. And it's not worth building up all the progress with certain people and then casting them aside all of a sudden and then having to start all over again. That is the warning I will give Raptors Nation over and over again about that. Seriously. It's a learning experience. Let them learn and let's keep the knowledge in our library instead of throwing the book out the window. How about that? Smooth saying Grady is fantastic. Jakob is a championship center. Scotty will be back. RJ and IQ are New York guys. Tough. Shed is legit, man, and add a lottery pick, 50 plus wins. I want to believe what you're saying, but we got to start baby steps. Like I said, we can't even crawl yet. So you're talking about running. You're talking about running smooth. We got to start all over again. And we got to prove that we can crawl first before we can even walk, let alone sprint or start to run, which is what you're describing right here. So we got to go through the steps properly. And it may be a little bit. You guys are saying 1 year rebuild. I wish that was true, but I don't think it's likely. It's going to take a couple years, guys. Seriously, it's going to take a couple years. Let's see. Shirkan saying on paper, when healthy, Raptors are better than the rest of the bottom 10 teams outside the Bucks and Sixers, of course. They got injuries too, and look at what's going on there. We're good, in my opinion, with a nice roster. I love y'all's positivity, and once again, this is one of those moments where y'all are a little bit more positive than I am. Realistic and really kind of understand it. I'm very optimistic a Raptors fan most of the time. You guys know that. That's part of this channel. But in some ways, the stuff that I've seen against Milwaukee and Detroit in the NBA Cup games has really been dismaying to me. Because honestly, these are games that are ripe for the picking that we could have won, that we did not take advantage of and take the win. And that's a sign that we don't know what we're doing yet. And in some ways, that's disheartening to me. And that means we got a lot of work to do is what I'm going to say right there. A lot of work to do. Kenny saying, I was disappointed because I was hoping we could beat the not so good teams. Exactly. That's where I'm at with this. In some ways, the Charlotte loss, the loss last night, are a litmus test, a test to see where we are and things. And it's not telling me what I want to hear, because in some ways, these are teams that we would handle very easily in the past with our Nick Nurse team from before. And it just shows that things have changed. The elevators go in different directions in the NBA, and our elevators in the basement, absolutely at the bottom of the building. And their elevators are coming up floors right now. Charlotte and Detroit are showing that they're better teams than ours right now, currently. Maybe when we're healthy, they aren't, but we don't know that because we aren't healthy. We can't show it or prove it. And it's just how it is. Fiercely saying, once again, other teams clearly scouting us and playing smart in reference to leaving a Mitchell open or putting their pit bulls out to disrupt us. Are we doing our homework? In some ways, this is the thing. When you're in the state that we're in, you're kind of treading water and just trying to keep your head above the water. We can't go into advanced stuff because we're learning basics. We're learning stuff that's like, kind of learning the very like bare bones of it. And in some ways, people like Tobias Harris are being around for a while. Malik Beasley, these guys have experience and they can kind of use their stuff to help in certain ways. Yeah, sure. Jakob can do the same in his own realm of his powers on the court, but there's needs to be other guys that are scorers, like our wings or point guards that are taking over and have that knowledge to be able to do that. And that's kind of what we've been saying today so far, is we've got to find guys that can close the game and do things in winning ways to make us win. And we don't have those guys yet. We're not seeing them. Now, some of it is scouting. Some of it is knowing how to guard Grady and RJ better. And some of it is also that our team is learning the basics and we're not learning advanced level stuff like we could learn down the road. And then we'll be able to handle things a little bit better. I think that's part of it right now. Shir Khan saying we have to realize this upcoming draft is going to be one of the strongest in 20 years. Raptors had worst schedule in the league, and we knew it was coming even if the roster was healthy. Rebuilds are tough. You're right, Shir Khan. But I would say this. If the Raptors had been healthy and they had not had any injuries, we'd be doing way better right now. I think we would have at least 6 wins. We'd have like 4 more wins right now. And we'd be like 6 and we'd be 6-8. We'd be 6-8 right now. We wouldn't be a winning team, but we definitely have more wins if Scotty and IQ had not missed a single game so far this year. In some ways, I could say the game last night would have been won if we had those guys. The game against Milwaukee probably would have been won if we'd had those guys. So, I mean, you're right. We knew the schedule was going to be bad going in, but we weren't going to use it as an excuse. We're going to come in and try and do our best regardless. But the schedule has been a huge factor. It has been a huge, huge factor. And rebuilds are tough. You're exactly right, man. Fiercely saying on to brighter days. We got this, fam. That's right. We stick together. Hey, listen, we could be our own little separate individual Raptor fans that are feeling down. At least we have each other on the channel to get together and kind of talk it out and try and stay centered in the right place and not be all overreacting. This is part of the reason why some of the people on social media go so crazy is they're by themselves. They're scared. and they're getting a little on the ledge. And let's be a support group for each other. Stay off the ledge and say, we're going to be fine. Just like Fiercey's saying, I'm on to brighter days. We've got this. And that's very affirming. I like that. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Game day. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks. Most informative gang. You do not have to remove every obstacle in your path. Just find your way through, under, over it, or around it. Okay. You want to be starting something too high to get over, too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle. Yeah. You can take some words from Michael Jackson's opening song on the Thriller album. And so you want to be starting something, got to be starting something. So you want to be starting something, got to be starting something. Too high to get over, too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle. What do? You go and you got to get the wins. You got to keep showing up and go to Boston tonight and try and get that W somehow, some way against the defending champs, against logical reasonings, FanDuel this shit. Go put some money on the Raptors tonight. You may make a lot of money just in case they fuck around and get a W tonight because nobody's expecting it. Nobody's expecting it. Think about that payout if you actually win on the Raptors winning tonight, because some crazy ass shit happens in the NBA, some sort of balancing, some sort of somewhat. Kevin Scott's not a horrible ref for us to have, guys. Justin Van Dyne, we've already won this year with him as a ref. Simone Jelk, same thing. Who knows? Who knows? It could be possible. Thank you, Randolph, for your words of wisdom and making me sing some Michael Jackson all of a sudden. Leo Routens is saying this morning, a wise man once said nothing. Yeah, I guess I'm not that wise because I'm saying a lot. Leo, thank you. Kid from Kiel. Thank you, Randolph. Thank you, Trevor, for y'all's words of wisdom. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, Smooth saying the Raptors will add a player via the free agency process as well. Davion Mitchell contract is off the books as well. Room to add. Yeah, that's one of the things we're going to do this year because we didn't extend Davion on his contract. We have the option to retain him in the summer, and in some ways he's on a tryout year. We've got to look at what he and whether we like it and whether we want to continue with him after the season. There's no guarantees on that because we didn't guarantee his contract for next year. So in some ways, Davion Mitchell is on a year-long tryout to be a part of our long-term plans. So we can look at it now after 12 games or so. Then, let's look at it at midseason. Let's look at it at the end of the season and how our Raptor Freaks feel about retaining Davion Mitchell and having him return to be a Raptor next season. Because this will be something the front office is assessing this entire season right now. It's very, very interesting. Wayne's saying this is not on coaches. Players are not adjusting to realities of playing professionally. This is a very difficult league to not have good fundamentals all the time. Look at LeBron. He's consistent. I know this is one of the toughest things that's got to be reckoned with in the NBA is it really is going younger and there's not as many vets. But the problem is the young players are just not fundamentally sound in a lot of ways. And even if the coach teaches them and says everything and is a good game plan, if they don't execute it because they're not fundamentally playing right, that's tough. How do you do that? In some ways, you say, well, the coaches need to get the best that they can out of their players as far as development and get just knowing their limits, whether they're fundamentally good in this way or not, and just getting around them. I mean, there's a lot to this, and I'll agree with Wayne on this, that it's probably harder than ever to coach in the NBA because, first of all, you get injuries, you're fucked. You get injuries, you're fucked with the new salary cap. You're absolutely screwed. As far as look at Sixers, look at the Pelicans, and look at us. You get injuries, you're screwed. You're not going to be doing well all of a sudden. It's just how it happens. Shere Khan saying, I want Raps to have the top 5 best chances to land the flag if we are not making the playoffs outright. None of that play-in, just missing the playoffs. Even the rest of the top 10 prospects look promising. I would say this, Shere Khan. It's a weird thing because the way the schedule's set up, and I know Raptors Nation, they're going to get pissed off when the Raptors start winning at the end of the season and they're not the bottom team in the league. I can totally tell you this is probably going to happen. And in some ways, I'm okay with it. In some ways, we don't have to get the absolute top. Even if you want Cooper Flag, I don't necessarily want him exactly. I'm kind of more a Bailey guy. I would like to be in the top 4 by the end of the year. If we're going to have a losing season, I'd like to be in the top 4 at least. But we'll see. Nothing's guaranteed. We know, once again, it's a draft lottery, and ping pong balls decided like they did for the Atlanta Hawks last year. And in some ways, the Pistons, the team we played last night, they had the worst record. And well, what did they do in the draft? They ended up getting, I forget who they even got with their high draft pick. They didn't even have one of the high draft picks. They were like 4th or 5th in the draft. and they had the worst record. So that's the thing we've got to understand. We could be the worst team and the worst record all year, and we still have to draft like fifth. And in some ways, is that worth it? So that's why I say try and win as much as possible. And I know in some ways I get what you're saying. Don't do the play in if we're it's like if we're not completely in the playoffs, just miss the play in. But still, that's a very good experience for our guys to learn too. A one and done play in situation is always a good learning lesson and environment for young players. So I'm going to disagree with you to an extent. And but yeah, in some ways, whatever we're gonna do, and I'm not gonna get picky about it. Some Raptors fans have a very deliberate pickiness that they want the Raptors to just be the worst team, have the worst record, so they can get Cooper Flag. Some people want them to be in the playoffs and to win and just do their best. I'm okay with wherever they land, and I know that our front office will make the best of whatever that situation is. And that's the thing right there. Milbester is back. All right, guys, we got Nick's Freet back, and he wants to come talk to us. Let's see if he's nice. We'll see what he's saying. Hey, Lex, how's everything been? A while. I haven't been watching NBA season at all. Shocked the Raptors near last in the East. We're last in the league, bro, with the Bucks and the Sixers. Weird season so far. I haven't been excited for the Knicks. Wow. So Milbester has been busy. He was watching the World Series with the Yankees losing to the Dodgers, and he's got other things going on in his life, and he's not paying attention to the NBA right now. So he's not even watching the Knicks right now. That's very interesting. Saying I was watching the MLB playoffs, and my Yankees lost to the World Series to the Dodgers. I haven't watched NBA in a while and been focused on international baseball and tournaments happening for a while. Okay, Milbester. Well, thanks for coming in and saying hi to us this morning. And Shirkan saying nameless whoop whoop. That's right. The Raptors Tonight crews say what's up. That's right. Milbester saying, I'll be honest with you. I don't enjoy the Knicks as much lately. It's not the same without DiVincenzo. And we best the Nets in the NBA Cup and MSG last year. Brunson and Bridges game-winning plays. But, Lex, why the Raptors off to a bad start? I really thought you guys were going to be better than this season. East is weird with the Sixers and Bucks with a 14-0 start. Well, there's a lot that I'm saying here that Milbester, Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickly are out, and there are two of our highest paid players. And when you have that much salary out of your lineup, well, that's a talent drain. And your team is, we're playing a lot of rookies, a lot of minutes, so we're extremely green. We're one of the least experienced teams in the league right now, and our record is showing for that. So it's injuries, and it's also, like I said, a very diabolical schedule that was given to us by the NBA for this season. It's very diabolical. That's the right word for it, is diabolical. So, yeah, that's the reasons why right there, Milbester. We're young. We don't understand how to win games, and our best players are out, two of our best players. Not only them, we're missing Kelly Olynyk, our backup center. We're missing Bruce Brown, who's a great piece to have to help. And we're missing our number 1 round pick, Jacoby Walter. We've been missing like 5 guys every single game this whole entire year so far, pretty much. And that's a big part of it right there. Injuries, Milbester. Injuries. That's why the Raptors are where they're at. That's why the Sixers are where they're at, because of Embiid and George missing games. And the Bucks are just dysfunctional. They're messed up, like with their chemistry. They have no other excuse other than they're dysfunctional. So, yeah, Nako saying, I really like Ace Bailey's release. There you go. There you go. Trevor's saying, yeah, smooth. Netflix streaming. It was like dial-up. It was like, did they make the little noise like America Online? Bing, 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 bing. You remember those old bing bangs? You're old head if you remember the bing bing of your modem going bing, 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 bing. That's so long ago, the dial-up. Bing, 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 bing. Y'all are making me laugh. All right, let's see. Milbester's saying, don't even remind me last night. The Netflix stream was garbage all night, buffering all boxing fights before the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. What a waste of time it was. They just want that money grab. They get y'all's attention with the big names, the big fight. Mike Tyson is a cash cow. He always has been. He will get that attention. And that's what they did. He said his older brother paid $7 to watch it with my dad, and my uncle and cousin are huge boxing fans, and I know a lot. They watch fights a lot of the time. I was watching the comeback on Netflix before the fight. Okay. All right. Fiercely saying Beef Stew was once again ejected this week at another game. Yeah, Beef Stew, in some ways, look, he was an honorable warrior. I really like the guy. I get him. I think that when he went after LeBron, because he got that's very real. I mean, he did do some very extreme violence on Beef Stew to get him to bleed like that. The way he hit him was wrong and dirty.
and the way he went after him was crazy. I'm a fan of him. Like, I would love him to be in a Raptors jersey, honestly. If you guys are talking about getting an enforcer, Isaiah Stewart is one of the best in the league right now. And in some ways, he would be very helpful to us. If Kelly would come back and be healthy, he could be this guy. But Kelly's too busy, his hoodies with his long hair. Get healthy. Fix your back, Kelly Olynyk. We need you out there to fight the good fight for the Raptors. Yeah, Mike's saying Pirtle has some werewolf strength. He's just very much one of the strongest guys. Like they were talking about this a couple years ago, Pirtle and Siakam, about who was stronger, and Pirtle's like, I'm stronger than you, Pascal. Come on. He probably is one of the stronger guys in the league. Like Pirtle may be in the top 10 strongest players in the entire league right now, guys. Just so y'all know. On the down low, he's super strong. Super, super strong. Kareem saying, for anybody who's wondering why Tyson bites his glove, it's a reminder to remain center and to have his guard up. He did this early in his career, but it's not noticeable. I want Tyson versus Gibbons. I'm dumb. Okay, I don't even know who Gibbons is. But yeah, all right. That's an interesting comment. Thank you for telling us about why Mike Tyson bites his glove. Very, very interesting. Milbester's saying, but yeah, Lex, don't expect me to mention Knicks a lot because I'm going to be busy with international baseball for a while before 2026 WBC and it's off season. Just not enjoying post DiVincenzo Knicks. See, they fucked up when they traded to get Cat and they traded Milbester's favorite, Dante, and Julius is gone too. Man, they overtraded. And in some ways, we were telling Milbester this over the summer. And it was Mikal Bridges was the first one, and now Karl Anthony Towns. And man, in some ways, Knicks fans are not as enjoying it as like Milbester as they were at the end of the season last year when they just did the OG trade. Man, they overdid it. You did too much, Leon Rose. Well, Milbester, have fun covering and looking at your baseball. Just don't bring that garbage in here. Get that garbage out of here. And you're fine if you want to come in and ask me about how the Raptors are doing. I'll give you the assessment. And if you do want to talk about the Knicks in little ways, I'm okay with talking about them too. We'll keep it NBA, okay? Because I'm not going to talk baseball here. I won't. Kareem saying Kelly Olynyk wearing that Temu version of a UPS uniform last night. All right. I just want Kelly to get healthy. We're going to crack on you until you get out there, Kelly. That's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to encourage Olynyk to get in a uniform and out of street clothes. We're going to make fun of him until he does. So we're going to give a 5-pointer to Kareem for this. 455 on the dunk chart. Man, you were up in the stratosphere with 455 dunks. Holy crap. Wayne's saying, yeah, some might be too young. Raptors with Alvin, VC, Oakley, Davis, Chris Childs were underperforming. And in the last 25 games, I think only lost like 2. This team healthy is a playoff-worthy team, for real. We've got talent. It's just we don't have know-how. That's the difference. In some ways, some of those old Raptors teams didn't have any talent, and they didn't have any know-how at times. But then they got know-how, but they didn't really have talent. So they still had a ceiling to them. So that's what bodes well for this Raptors team, is that our talent means we have a ceiling that's pretty high. Maybe people won't see it and think, oh, that team's not that talented. Look at what they're doing. But bullshit. Well, our team is talented when they're fully healthy. And the ceiling is pretty high for them to achieve to a higher level when they're fully healthy and they're more knowledgeable on how to win. So it's all going to come. Trevor's saying Netflix took everybody's money last night and gave them a streaming of Dawes dial-up. No, y'all now it's only for now y'all know it's only for movies, not for live events. Well, they're changing it. They want to do this more often. They're going to try and do they're going to have Raw every week on Monday nights on Netflix now. It's taking away from cable. Monday Night Raw for wrestling will be on Netflix starting in January. And so every Monday, a live event will be on Netflix that will be Raw, the old wrestling show that's been on Monday nights forever. So that's the big change right there. That's an interesting thing. But Netflix is trying to get more into this, and so is Amazon Prime. Remember, the Amazon Prime wants to start streaming the NBA games, and they have made some deals already with some of the media companies in the States to start taking the streaming rights for NBA games. So the media way we get games is changing. It's changing. And it's going to be more in streaming than terrestrial TV and watching it on TV channels, cable. It'll be more on these streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime. So it's part of the change. It's happening. There's going to be way more live events on Netflix. Watch. Way more. Mike's saying Doug Christie was the OG vet. Yeah, Doug Christie We've seen him in the last week. Of course, he coaches for the Sacramento Kings. He was in the Open Gym episode that came out yesterday, or the day before. There's 2 Vince Carter episodes that came out, and he's talking about Vince. Of course, he was around Vince in Sacramento as an assistant coach, and also around him as a teammate on the Raptors. Yeah, Doug Christie is a celebrated old alumni. It's okay. He's definitely Kings Nation first, but he embraces his Raptors roots also, and he's always spoke kindly of his time in Toronto. So I'm totally cool with Doug Christie, for sure. Kareem saying at Wayne, when I actually put things into perspective, we are so close to a crazy upward trajectory. That's why we don't want to fuck it up before we actually get the rocket lit and it starts going up. We're setting up the rocket on the pad still. And we got to build that rocket, y'all. The rocket can't go up in the air with until all the parts are on it. And we're missing some very key and crucial parts for us to make our trajectory as high as possible. So we need to just chill and let that rocket sit on the launch pad, maybe for this season, and maybe we get some super high, awesome, important part at the end of the year to add to the rocket to extra nitro boosters. And it's a high draft pick. We'll have to see. We're going to have to see what happens. But I agree with you guys. The future is still bright. The glasses are still here. And it's still something that we got to say is the future is bright. It's just it looks ugly right now. It looks very ugly right now. Let's see. Smooth saying Brandon Carlson signing with Oklahoma City. Raptors 905 still is G League rights, though. All right, is this breaking news? This is something that Blake Murphy was joking about the other night. But yeah, there it is. Thunder have signed Brendan Carlson. Oklahoma City Thunder has signed center Brendan Carlson. It was announced today. What are they signing him to? They've signed him to an affiliate. What is the exact contract exactly? I don't know. All right, well, there you go. This was actually something that Blake joked about. The Brendan Carlson came out and he hit 2 threes to start one of the last Raptors 905 games. And Blake was saying, "Oh, Oklahoma City is going to sign him now." And well, he was right. So I guess Oklahoma City has signed Brendan Carlson. Now watch how he does down there. This is probably partly because Chet's out and they need more depth at that position because Chet's going to be out for a while. But we'll see. Once again, you guys can be mad about this and be like, "Oh, he's out there." But we got to understand this. First of all, it's a full-time contract. He's going there for a tryout, probably. He's going to be there for a little while. And like Smooth said, we still have his rights for our team. And when he finishes, like if it's a 10-day, he'll play for them for that time. If it's I don't know what the contract is exactly. He'll return to 905 and play for them. Now, once again, I'll say this. When he plays for them, pay attention to how he plays and whether he does well holding himself on defense. And if you see what I've been saying about him this whole time, you'll understand that everything we've done has been right. Now, it could be that he has some good games and everybody's going to be like, "Oh, the Raptors are stupid for letting him go." Just let the Raptors do what they're going to do. We will have mistakes and we're going to have successes. And in some ways, this isn't a mistake or a success. This is not a needle pusher. So let's not overreact to little small moves that aren't actually needle pushers in real important ways with the Raptors team. I would say that to casual fans that are out there as far as things. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long he stays. He may not stick, and he may be right back to 905 soon. We'll have to see. Mike's saying OKC needs a Chet replacement. Exactly. That's what I just said. G saying realistically 3 years until we are consistently good, barring if they make trades. Let's enjoy the growth. Yeah, it could go either way with trades. It could set us back, or it could accelerate us to be better again because we have more vets that are going to help us win. I really do feel like when you starve your team of vets, well, you really are going to have a harder time winning because the vets know how to win in this league. And that's the thing that people that want such young cores don't get. You want all young players on your team. Well, if you don't have any older players that understand what it takes to win in the league, you're going to lose over and over again. Talk to the Houston Rockets from a couple years ago until Fred VanVleet showed up and showed them how to win. That's what I'm saying. Mike's saying we have 4 guys that could be all-stars, Scotty, Quickly, RJ, and Grady, and we have a bunch of young role players. Once things settle down health-wise, we can see how good they are. I don't want this to become a regular thing, though, with the injury, a revolving door. Like, this is so stupid. In some ways, these guys should want to be healthy as much as possible, and the amount of how often we're getting injured with our team in recent years is annoying me. It's annoying me. And in some ways, as much as they say the Sixers got in trouble because they tanked on purpose and lost on purpose, and then they didn't learn how to play without losing because they got into bad habits. I don't want our team to be in bad habits of being injured all the time and getting used to it. In some ways, Emmanuel, Scotty, y'all don't need to be getting used to being in street clothes all the time. And in some ways, this is the thing I'm worried about the most. I'm not worried about them falling into bad habits of losing. Sure, this is something that could happen, but I want them to be not getting into bad habits of being in street clothes all the time. That's the thing that I'm worried about right there. That's the thing right there. Smooth saying, I think this is a 1 year process only, man. Front office isn't going for a 3 to 4 year process. Control this smooth. That's the thing. I don't know if they can control this completely. Sure, ideally, we'd like to make it a 1 year turnaround, but I don't know. Even if you do something quickly, maybe it doesn't stick or do as well as it could if you put more time into making sure you do it right. Is part of what I would say here. Sue's here. Good to see Sue in the chat. Play it again, Sue, y'all. Check out Sue's music reaction YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun. She's reacting to a lot of old classic songs. A lot of fun stuff on there. G saying Sixers are 2-10 and healthy now, so would rather this. Rebuilds take years. It is what it is. The nature of rebuild is to start over. To be consistently good takes experience. Consistency takes reps. That is all true. G is exactly on point. Let's see. Smooth saying Toronto has some really good pieces. They play hard. They just haven't figured out how to win. They aren't that far off. Yeah, we got to learn how to win, but there's baby steps and there's different levels of winning. In some ways, we don't even know how to close games out against bad teams to win, let alone how to close out games against good teams and win. Like there's a lot of baby steps that are in this. And that's part of the why I'm so dismayed is because we played a fairly bad teams, Milwaukee and Detroit in NBA Cup games, all the stakes in the world. And we still didn't figure out how to rise up and beat these bad teams. We were worse than them. And that's why I'm saying there's baby steps. We got to learn how to beat the bad teams. Then we got to learn how to beat the mediocre teams. Then we have to learn how to beat the very good teams. And then we have to learn how to string together win streaks and go through the ups and downs. There's so much we got to start over and learn again because this has all been wiped with the departures of people like Van Vliet, Anunoby, and Siakam, who were the guys who understood all this stuff. The Schroeder also, and they're gone now. Sue's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. I know some of you are frustrated, but we are young and unhealthy, and we are learning. These opportunities for young guys will help us in the future. Be positive and patient. There you go. And a lovey face from Sue. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. And thank you for your fun content on your channel. She's right. In some ways, we got to keep it in perspective and just be cool and go with the flow. And things will turn out all right in the long run. It's just we have to be patient. We have to understand if you don't like this kind of stuff and happening to the Raptors, go away for a while and don't pay attention to them. If you don't want to watch this year, I understand. Some people just can't stomach it. Some people have a certain level of excellence they want to see in their sports team, and they don't want to spend the money or the time on them if they're going to be this way. I get that. That's fine. The real crazy ones like us will watch them no matter what, and we'll continue to do what we do, like I do on this daily channel every day. But in some ways, I get it. If some people want to turn the TV off for the Raptors this season because they're not winning enough, that I totally respect that because it's hard to go through this with them. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that, and I know a lot of y'all will too. Mike's saying Grady, Pirtle, and Oshai have been the most stable starters health-wise. The growth from last year is clear as day. We're competing, and last year those two weren't capable of that. Yeah, already huge leaps, and I'm very proud of them. And there's a lot of good things there. In some ways, that's the Darko development we're seeing with those guys already. And even Jakob has had development in his later career from Darko. He's gotten better in certain ways, Mike. You know he has. You can see that Pirtle's a different player slightly in different ways, whether it's the way he's attacking the rim, putting the ball in the dribble and coming through the lane and attacking the rim with floaters and layups. You know, that stuff is pretty new with him. I've never seen him do much with putting the ball on the floor with the dribble and like that. That usually is just catch and like do a spin shot near the basket right underneath it or a dunk. But yeah, he's doing stuff where he's actually putting the ball on the floor and dribbling. He's expanded his game in some ways, which is crazy because Pirtle's almost a 10-year vet, right? He's 10 years in the league. So that's pretty cool. Shirkan saying, Lex, I totally agree with the notion that the Raps would be closer to 500 if SB and IQ were healthy to begin the season. In other news, what do you think about Yak's stock shooting up for a possible trade? I don't like the idea of trading Yak because I know he likes being in Toronto, and even if we're losing, he doesn't care. He's very comfortable on our team. I'm anti trading our guys. I'm never ever for like trading people just, and especially if we're trading him to go to another team just to help that other team get over the top to get a championship. Now, if Jakob won a championship, and especially if it was on a team I liked, I'd be happy with that. But in some ways, I get sentimental, and maybe I am a little attached to our guys. It's the same reason why I fight against trading Chris Boucher or Jakob Pertl. But both of those guys could be trade targets for teams that are competing and they want to add something to there. I don't know. I trust in Bobby and rely on Masai to make the decision making in that department in the smart ways that's best for our franchise. So in some ways, I'm not talking about trading Pirtle, but if those guys traded him for a good of our team, I'd be fully on board on it. But once again, I'm not one of these content makers that's all about talking about trade speculations or even throwing our guys under the bus just by mentioning them in a trade that I think they should do. I don't do this. I like Pirtle. I want him in a Raptors jersey. If he gets traded because Masai wants him to be traded, then I'll get behind it. But otherwise, I'm not trying to trade him out of here. Is how I look at it. And same thing with Jonas in Washington. He's a center on a bad team that could go to a better team and possibly help them win a championship. So, there's a couple different guys out there, and Jonas is 10 million a year. Jakob is 20 million a year. So in some ways, Jonas may be more likely to be attractive in this category for a high contender team like a Lakers or somebody like that trying to get us another center. So I can see that. I don't want to trade any of our guys. It's too early to trade anybody. We trade Bruce Brown. That makes sense. But otherwise, anybody else, I don't see it. G saying, we are going to be so fine. Great pieces, great chemistry and vibes. Just a few more pieces and reps. Out of nowhere, they will be closing out or blowing teams away. I hope so. I really do. Scott comes back. I want to see a higher level of compete and conversion to wins. That's what I want to see when Scott comes back. And I love your positivity, G. It really is nice on this morning. Now, Milbester, if you are not talking about basketball, erase all your comments. If you have any comments, because you spammed a bunch of comments in my chat, and I do want to get done soon because I'm at 10 minutes before 2 hours. Please delete any comment that does not pertain to the NBA. All right. If it has to do with boxing or baseball, cut it out. I don't want to see it. Okay. So go ahead and delete it ahead of time, please, sir. Please, sir. Just respect my channel and trying to get out of here on a good time. Smooth saying, bottom out this year, man. We're too deep in. Have to race to the bottom. Okay, so he's all about the race, the capture flag. All right. That's an apparable. That's one of the routes we could be doing this year. It's very realistic. Shirkan saying, so far I've been enjoying the roster development because Raps have been in close games. Honestly, Lex, this roster has the possibility on going on 7-game win streak. Like I said, wouldn't mind the 6th seed. See, that's all right. So you're saying playoff or no playoff, and that's it. Don't get in the play-in. Don't try and be like 7 through 10. Go all the way up. Now, part of what Shirkan's saying that makes sense is the East is so bad and nobody's getting any ground. It's crazy. In the game last night, Matt Devlin's saying that, after Boston and Cleveland, the whole Eastern Conference is within each other. And that's like 3 through all the way to the bottom. That if we do better all of a sudden, we could dramatically rise up in the Eastern Conference standings and be in a playoff spot all of a sudden. That's totally true, even with our very horrible record so far. It's just that the East is like that right now. So there really is the opportunity for a very bad team like us to do before the end of the season. It could happen. Jimmy's saying, I hope we get Ace Bailey. He's nice. There you go, Jimmy Pope. Yeah, I'm a big Ace Bailey guy too. He's the guy I think I like out of the highest prospects in the draft this year too. Yeah, Mike's saying having 13 guys play a couple back-to-backs and a long road trip will drain them, and not all the guys were playable. GT, Carton, Shamshay. You're talking about Gary Temple and Carton and Shamshay. Those guys weren't even with the team, Shamshay and Carton. So they weren't able to be with them on the road trip, and they're straight up 905 right now. So they're not even able to be there. All right, I'm going to skip Milbester's comment on Netflix because I don't want to talk about it. And Fiercey saying, Lex asking not to bring basketball talk. That's right. Fiercey saying, Kareem, laugh out loud on the Kelly comment. I like that. Classic card, please. All right, thank you. Thank you for being a producer, Fiercey. 10:48 is the time. I'll come back to that time signature for what's going on. And I see Trevor's reminding me down there, too, to make sure we do this. All right, I'm pulling it from the back. Oh, I don't want this card. That card, I pulled that before, and that's no good. Yeah, we'll do this one. This one. All right, guys. First person to get the classic card gets classic card trivia points for the Raptor Freak trivia score. The winner at the end of the season gets their name added to the Raptor Freak Mega Championship trophy that is in my studio outside. I should go back to the studio at some point so we can see it. But all right, here we go. Who is this, guys? This is the classic card of the day. Who is that? This is classic. This is not newer. So if you know this classic player, then you can get it. I got to be able to see what you guys write in. Can you see who that is? Don't look up the team and the number, although you can't really see the second part of the number. You can see from that Warriors jersey, it's a certain era Warriors, and this is classic. So don't start answering newer players. This is a classic player. David Lee. That's a good guess. It's not the right position. It's not the right position. Milbester, we're playing classic card. Come on, man. Participate. Get with it, Milbester. Come on now. I see that's an NBA comment, and I will read it when we get to that point in this chat. But we're doing the classic card, my guy. David Lee is not right. David Lee of the Florida Gators is not the right answer. This is somebody else. This is a different position than David Lee. Tom Tolbert is a great guess. In fact, Tom Tolbert, he's doing like podcasts or something right now. Tom Tolbert. That's a great guess, but it's not Tom Tolbert. He does kind of look like Tom Tolbert. It's a fantastic guess. This guy's more famous for being on another team. And this was just him on the Warriors for a little while. So in some ways, that's a red herring. That I thought you would say Tom Tolbert, honestly. A Weber teammate? What do you mean, Weber? Weber teammate? Yeah, this guy was probably on this team when Chris Webber was on the Warriors. So that would make sense. Chris Webber was around the team at this time. So he might have been on the team with Chris Webber at this time. I think this is after he won championships. This guy won a bunch of championships. Let's just say on another team. And then he came to the Warriors. I think he was on the Warriors before or after those championships. I'm not totally sure. There you go. Kareem got it. He didn't spell his name right, but that is Judd Buechler. It's Judd, not Jed. Judd, Jud. Judd Buechler of the Chicago Bulls was on the three-peats with them. There, you can see him better on the back. He's looking kind of Tolbertish. You can see his face there. That's a tough one. And you did really butcher his name. Buechler. Jed Buechler, Judd Buechler. Yeah, that's who it is. All right, Kareem, I'm going to give you 150 points. I'm marking 50 off for spelling. You could have gotten more, but you didn't get him exactly right with the spelling. But Kareem, you're going to get the classic card of the day. It is Judd Buechler of the Chicago Bulls. Won a lot of championships with the Bulls. He won like 2 of them, I think, with them or something like that. Good job. Yeah, Tom Tolbert was definitely the red herring on that one. Definitely the red herring that throw you off on that one. Milbester, let's see. Yeah, I'm not reading that. Let's see. Smooth saying, Lex, if I hear Blue Jays and Soto, you know I can't stop. Ha, ha, ha. Well, we'll see. Maybe the Rogers Center made enough money this weekend with Taylor Swift that they can afford getting Juan Soto to come to the Blue Jays. We'll have to see. Mike saying, Kelly in that backwards hat look makes him look like a 90s kid, laughing my ass off. Yeah, he looks like he sang that song, New Radicals. You got to get what you give. Don't let go. You got the music in you. One chance left. You know that song? That song's awesome. That's one of the best songs ever written, man. And it kind of goes off on everybody. It's like Courtney Coxon, Marilyn Manson. Da, 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 da. He's like, I'll kick your ass too. New Radicals. And they're in a mall. And it's like, yeah, Kelly looks like he would be in New Radicals. Like he'd be in that band singing Get What You Give. I mean, that's a cool thing. It's a good song, man. So it's like, hey, I'm not dissing him on that. Smooth saying Raw will be 3 hours too every Monday on Netflix live. Yeah, I hear they're going to kick Triple H out because they don't want him to be in charge anymore. He has some scandals like Vince, and they're going to kick Stephanie and Triple H out, and The Rock is going to be in charge of wrestling soon. The TKO that owns wrestling now wants The Rock to be the head of all of it, and they don't want Paul around. Really, seriously, this is what I'm hearing in the rumblings and the behind the scenes of WWE is that they're going to try and get rid of Triple H, and Rock will be in charge of wrestling very soon. Very, very soon. And this change that's happening. That's right. Trevor's saying Charlotte and the Bucks at 3 p.m. today. Okay. All right. Hornets and the Bucks at 3? That's a weird time. Mike's saying Scotty has had some bad luck. Freak injury. Scotty is a winning commander. We feel it when he's out there. He's just a very strong player. and very, very talented. And the ceiling is so high for him. It's just we need to get him healthy. And there's no denying Scotty's been hurt these last 2 seasons, whether it's the finger thing that happened last year or the eye. We see the eye very prominently in our face. What's going on? Let's go do the Instagram stories real quick before I forget. Zach Edey is celebrating the Purdue Boilermakers 87-78 win over Alabama. So he's still showing up for his team, standing with them, even though he's in the NBA. Davion Mitchell coming in the game last night wearing a sweater with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King on there. He's had a whole series of very nice sweaters with icons from Black history that he's been wearing recently. Been fantastic stuff. There he is dribbling the balls. There he is just before the game, and he's celebrating De'Aaron Fox getting 60 points. Very, very different is what he's saying. And then he was on the mic last night. It was kind of cool to hear Davion talking on the mic, although he did not play well last night. In some ways, maybe he was thinking about the mic too much. I don't know what was going on. In some ways, you got to get your offense going, Davion Mitchell. This is the opportunity. IQ is out. You got to show that you can be a scoring point guard. And in some ways, you're not doing that. And it's too bad. Emmanuel quickly showing the scene last night of him and his friends watching the Tyson Paul fight in his condo. You can see the nice up high-end condo wherever they were. I guess maybe Quick didn't go on the road trip with them to Boston last night, and he hung around and waited and stayed in Toronto. That's one thing I got to wonder. Maybe our Raptors guys had to watch this fight on the plane to get to Boston because they had to get to Boston last night. Let's see what else is going on. The Raptor has got a couple things going on in his Instagram. He's got that court did look nice. The purple court with the trophy and the red emblem in the middle. It was very nice. It wasn't as nice as the one we had last year, in my opinion, but the purple in-season tournament court for the Raptors was nice. Now, I was surprised they didn't wear the Vince Carter dunk logo jerseys. They wore regular jerseys last night. Weren't they supposed to wear their Vince Carter dunk logo jerseys? And that was fishy to me too. Like, why are they not letting the Raptors have really cool things happening for them? Like, who's doing the equipment managing for the Raptors? Because the jerseys have been off center, not in the right places, the right times. There's certain nights where it say you're going to wear purple and then you don't. And then you wear purple all of a sudden on another night that you weren't going to. There's no rhyme or reason. Are y'all trying to screw with us as far as what jerseys we're supposed to wear? Because last night they should have been wearing that Vince Carter logo jersey that's been on fire that they released. What the fuck happened? Why weren't they wearing the new City Edition jersey last night? That's a huge question I have right now. Something's not right. Miles Burns showing he's checking in Washington, D.C., the capital city of the United States, because he's going to be playing Capital City Go-Go tomorrow. And we'll have the reaction to the Boston game tonight. And I'll have a setup for the Capital City Go-Go 9:05 game tomorrow afternoon also, just so y'all know. Jamal McGlure's got funny stuff about growing up black in the hood. He's got all kinds of crazy clips in there about being a kid. You real ones will remember American Gladiators. That's right, shooting rockets that are styrofoam at targets and trying to beat the gladiators by running around the gauntlet. And he's also got notes that parents would write to their kids back in the day about cleaning the house before they get home, and they're going to get beat if they don't. Stuff like that. Also, Scarborough's a Joke had some event or something where they had comedians telling jokes for charity out in Scarborough. Check out his Scarborough's a Joke stuff. And he's saying before social media, we always knew where everyone was, where all the bikes were out in front of somebody's yard. There you go. Slim Duck has got some kid. He's saying when all the women you don't want are for real applying pressure. He's like, no, stay away from me. Please stay away from me is what he's saying. The Raptors, Cardinal Official, who was doing the halftime show. It was very cool to see him return to Scotiabank Arena and do his songs during halftime and showing them constructing the court, the in-season tournament court. That's on the Raptors official account, also on Instagram. There you go. That's the Instagram stories for today. There, right in the nutshell, right there. That's it, right there. Yeah. Milbester's saying LaMelo game tying shot versus the Sixers. Laughing my ass off. I didn't see that. He's saying, Lex, that's exactly how the Knicks got to where they are. It's baby steps from learning to beat bad and mediocre teams to then middle teams and then the best teams. It's leaps and strides to get there. Yeah. It's just we got to go through it again. Raptors have been a top Eastern Conference team for almost for like over a decade. We were like that pretty much from 2013 up until like a couple years ago. So we had like a whole 10 years of being a top dog in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division, and we're not there anymore. We got to start over and start that build once again. And that's what not you newer fans need to realize. There's a process to this. And what Milbester's saying is true. Is the Knicks had to go through it in the last 10 years. They were not a very good team like 6-7 years ago, and they've gotten a lot of progress in that time. A lot of progress. Mike's saying Scotty isn't getting injured from wear and tear injuries. It's free contact injuries. IQ hit Scotty's finger and the elbow, and he's not going to be injured like this in the future. I hope so. That's what I want. That's what I want. And like, yeah, that, you really can see, like, this makes more sense. Scotty's injury from Joker is that, like, look, he hit him with an elbow so bad that it fractured his bone around his eye. And when Scotty was leaving the court, everybody thought he was over dramatizing. He's going, and he's like walking like this along the court side, and he's going immediately out. Dude, he had a bone sticking in part of his body that hurt him. And like, some people were making fun of him for like over dramatizing the hit. But dude, have you seen how it looks? And his eyes bloodshot. That it was probably extremely painful after Nikola hit him in the eye with an elbow. So that wasn't over dramatics. And even the Denver announce crew tried to say he's overselling the injury. Bullshit. Have you seen his eye since then? Is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Carlos saying watching Dylan Harper right now. That guy is legit good. Too much, so much prospects next year. Well, we'll just have to see. Trust in Masai. He knows what he's doing. We know he's going to make the right decision. Wayne's saying, take note, freaks. If Battle hits a shot, the ball does not find him again until probably the next quarter. That's not fundamental. I saw RJ do that and force an unsuccessful drive. Much to learn, freaks. I don't know if that's exactly true. Battle had 3 3-pointers that he made, and they were all right around each other. There was one late, and then there were 2 early. I think that's what it was. It's not that they're going away from him. Some ways, part of the problem is that Battle is inexperienced with footwork and positioning to get himself open on his own. And in some ways, the shots that Battle are getting is off of a driving kick, somebody else drawing the defense away, and they get the ball to him, and he shoots then. What Darko wants him to get better at is something like what Grady does, is creating his own shots off the dribble with footwork or using screens. And in some ways, that's where Battle is green, is that he has a hard time. Like, do you ever see him dribble around a Jakob screen to take a shot, a pull-up? No, because he's not ready to do that yet, whereas Grady is. So it's some of that is that. Now, I know you're trying to say that RJ like should be feeding the hot hand. Is if Jamison Battle's hitting some shots, he should be looking out for him and trying to find him some more. I totally agree with that. In some ways, there are ways we could be playing more cerebrally on the court as far as recognizing mismatches or laying off people or any of that kind of stuff, and then doing something about it. That is something that where we will improve, is like just taking advantage of things that are presented in the flow of the game that we're not taking advantage of. There is stuff like that happening for sure. For sure. For sure. All right, let's see. Milbester saying Raptors have to do the same, but the team knows what they need to do in their rebuild to get them to where they want to go. And that's to be a competitive basketball team that the fans can enjoy. Yeah, in some ways, I feel like that is something that we're more likely to do better than other Eastern Conference teams that have been near the bottom, because we have a reliable management that knows what they're doing. You can always take into question whether the Hornets, the Wizards, or the Pistons know what the fuck they're doing as a front office. But with the Raptors, we can at least say that Ujiri and Webster have a track record of success, and that their decisions are more likely to turn into gold and us turning around than those other teams I just mentioned. And that may be part of the difference right there. That may be part of the difference right there. Kareem saying, I've seen that picture of Mass Scotty with the black covering and the red eyeball. He's coming to save Gotham City. I mean, the Six. Yeah, I wanted that superhero story arc. I want that. In some ways, we're in the dark times in the movie where the hero is getting punched and kicked and bullied and not getting their just due. And, well, we need to rise up and change the story arc and have the hero's journey come full fruition and have the good stuff happen at the end where we come back. That's right. In some ways, we need a hero, Tina Turner. I'm singing it now. We need another hero. We need to know the way to win. All we want is some more W's in the NBA. Carlos saying keep Yak at all costs. Hell, find another Yak. We need more Yaks. See, that I'm more partial to what Carlos saying. That we need a depth. God forbid we don't need Pirtle to be out and see how really bad we can be. So yeah, I totally agree with Carlo on this. Instead of thinking about trading him to help another team that's a contender to get to the championship, we need him just to help us in basics. And we probably need another one. I'm exactly with him on that. Mike's saying developing prospects at the moment is getting us closer to championship than wins at the moment. Our plan for the chip depends on creating a bunch of assets to consolidate into elite talent that completes the team. I like all that. That sounds good to me. I'm not going to argue with it. Smooth saying at Milbester, the Raptors don't have the pedigree the Knicks have. Remember, they're a flagship franchise. Yes, they went through years of rebuild, but you also had those 90s Knicks teams to remember. Plus, I don't know if you wrote something else. You know what? I would argue against this, actually, Smooth. In some ways, the Knicks are like the Leafs. They're over analyzed and they don't get anything done because there's too many people criticizing or opinionated, whether it's press, fan base, toxic. They overreact and do too much like they did this year. In some ways, that's even harder when there's so much speculation and so much scrutiny. And I feel like that is a symptom of teams like the Knicks and the Leafs because they're historically teams that have done very well and they're very important to their cities. And people get so crazy about them that they overanalyze them and they really mess up things like they did this year, honestly. They had it right. If they had Hartenstein still and they kept their team from last year, instead of making trades, they should have focused on keeping Isaiah Hartenstein the most. That was the most important thing the Knicks should have done this summer, but they didn't do it. And in some ways, he cut it and run. And they're going to be worse for this. They're not a better team with the changes they made this summer. They were better when they got OG. They were better when they made the OG Anunoby trade, but they weren't better after the trade for Mikal Bridges, and they weren't after the Cat one either. That's the problem. There's the cutoff. I love to see it. There's some rabbits. There's a cutoff with rabbits. Very weird, man. Wayne saying, honestly, I'm not into trade nonsense talks. If Jakob is traded, I think I would give up on the Raptors. Makes no sense to me. So no, it won't happen. Trading Jakob is just immature and unbusinesslike. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense unless it's going to a team where he has a very good chance to get a ring and he's happy about that. I wouldn't do it to him to be unprofessional just to trade him. And in some ways, Masai and Bobby are like that as far as thinking those kind of things through. I think he's too vital and essential to our team also. And as Wayne said, he'd be maybe very hard to watch the games if he is traded all of a sudden. It won't make any sense. Trevor's saying fans don't understand. We have 4 rookies off the bench. No other team has 4 rookies. We have 5, but one of them is in G League primarily. Coming off the bench, who never been in the NBA before and getting thrown in the fire, those guys are getting knowledge. Yeah, it's very, very valuable. But it's also the beginnings of it, and we're not going to see any of the fruits of it. It's very, very early in the growth. And in some ways, we're going to take some time to see the rewards of it down the road. Smooth saying at Milbester, the Hall of Famers that wore the uniform in MSG and the Raptors don't have that kind of foundation behind them. Well, in some ways, that can be hurtful to those kind of franchises too, especially if they're in a bad place. Like the Lakers have been bad places before where they've been absolutely toxic and bottom feeders in the league. And you just see how the fan base gets like that. The Celtics also. The Celtics in the last 20 years have had low points and have just had a really hard time. The Knicks have too. Sometimes that history and tradition can be helpful, but it can also be a detriment. So I don't know. We're building our own history. We got a jersey retired with Vince Carter now. We have a championship. We have some history to our team that we can be proud of also. Milbester saying, don't worry, Lex, not trying to. I'm actually going to eat breakfast shortly, just catching up to what I missed in NBA season because I haven't watched the games. Good to see you, Milbester. Return, Knicks freak, and our friend that's a Knicks fan. And yeah, just keep it on topic, and you're always welcome here, my guy. Seriously, you're always welcome here when you do that. All right, I took care of both of those. Let's see. Smooth saying, I'm completely out on a 3 to 4 year rebuild. Yeah, you don't want to watch it. That's why you only want a 1 year. Well, this could be like this. That's what I'm saying. And well, old Lex is going to cover it every day, every step of the way. And, maybe because we're here every day, we won't see the huge strides because we're watching it so closely every single day. But if you go away for a little while and you want to, and you come back, maybe you'll see the strides and a whole big jump. because you hadn't paid attention. Smooth, I know you're a real one. I'm not going to question your fandom if you decide to turn it off, but it could be a little while in some ways. I think it's going to be at least a 2-year rebuild. That next year is going to be tough also. I don't think that we're going to get a magical draft pick and then all of a sudden we're going to have perfect health and we're just going to run roughshod over the league next year. I don't think that's very likely. In some ways, we're going to take a couple years at least. I could say 2-year rebuild. Would you be okay with that? Milbester's saying smooth. That's true. But the Raptors aren't a small market team after they won the NBA Finals versus the Warriors. They should have figured out their front office and draft picks and payroll and cap space. In some ways, Milbester, the thing about that is that they changed all the rules after our Raptors championship. Everything about the NBA is totally different. And the team that we build up to with Kawhi may not be possible at this point. The way that the salary cap is and the way that Adam Silver has shaped this league has made it a way different kind of league to build in the way that we used to. So it's in some ways that whatever applied from before is not able to be applied now, is what I'm saying, because the league is very structured differently with the aprons and the salary cap. So it's the GM's got to be creative, and also they have to make sure they hit on whatever they do, whether it's draft picks, whether it's trades. They have to make sure that they're good for their team and are adding up to getting better, because they don't have a whole lot of wiggle room to make mistakes. Let's just put it that way. If they're going to try and compete and win in this league, that's just how it is. It's just how it is. All right, there's the classic card answers. Mike saying, I was trying and thinking about Weber's Golden State Warriors teammates. There you go. Black Sox, the Chicago Bulls. There you go. Mike saying, backwards hat and waist-tied hoodie. Laugh out loud. There you go. Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob. Jay and Silent Bob. G saying, when IQ and Scotty come back, we will have 3 playmakers with RJ's improving playmaking skills. I just want them all healthy and for a good stretch of time. We need them out there for a stretch of time and not other people jumping out when other people are jumping back in. Carlos saying, did anyone catch that point RJ tried last night? That point? That point? What do you mean that point? A shot or pointing with his finger? I'm not totally sure what you mean, Carlo. Smooth saying, Ed Milbester, yes, all of that is correct. However, I remember the very dark days of Raptors, 2005 to 2012. I don't ever want to go back to that. Well, we're in danger of being there right now. We really, really are. And that's why I tell people, stop asking for us to trade people like Siakam and Fred, and stop saying you want to get rid of our front office and different stuff like that. This is not helpful. Nick Nurse had to go. In some ways, that wasn't totally helpful for us to continue to win either. But we got a new coach, and we got to stand behind him and allow him to grow and become a better coach as time goes on too. So, yeah, it's tough. In some ways, we may have to be in this kind of period for a little while, Smooth. And it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. I get it. I'm with you on this. But in some ways, it's just part of the NBA and being a franchise and the ups and downs of the cyclical nature of winning and losing. It's just how it goes. Wayne saying Battle's comment isn't just about RJ or last night per se. Just a general observation. I put it to lack of high IQ point guard right now, but it's coming in, my opinion, in terms of development. One of the things that I think every team has to struggle with is whether the point guard's going to call their number or call somebody else's number. This is a real problem in the NBA in general. On the G League level, Kennedy Chandler has bugged me in the last few games because he's called his number too often, and he's not getting his other teammates as involved. Now, RJ Barrett on the main roster, he definitely played point guard at one point last night because they didn't put Shed or Davion in, and he was out there handling the ball. It was very interesting that they did that. And I think it was partly because both Shed and Mitchell have not been dependable offensively to score points and produce. So in some ways, they wanted to try a bigger lineup against the Pistons, who have different kinds of guards than a regular traditional guard. Jaden Ivey's kind of a hybrid guard, and Cade Cunningham, that they would go bigger and have RJ run the point. And that was 2 different levels of success. In some ways, I like the look of it because we were bigger physically with height, but also at the same time, RJ played point guard at Duke. He's very used to being a distributor, and it's not really an issue for him. But once again, we got to say, if he's already committed to going to the basket in a certain way of barreling down there, he may not have the lanes to pass out, and he may have to force it against the defense. And that may be part of what you're seeing there, is that, in some ways that's still the best shot, because if he's getting a paint touch and he's getting proximity to the basket, he's so crazy. He could throw up a circus shot while he's falling down and it'll hit the high glass and it'll fall through still. So I still like that shot. Even if he's drawing the attention, he's not kicking it out at times. I trust RJ's judgment, and he'll get more and more savvy and learn it about the right decisions in those split seconds with the parameters of what he's dealing with. But in some ways, it may look like RJ's forcing it and at the detriment of not finding people like Battle or Dick outside. But it is really kind of that he needs to do this to go through the process of learning. There's a lot of it that has to do with what we saw with DeMar DeRozan in the 2010s. It's a similar thing. DeMar DeRozan would frustrate the hell out of me because he would take it to like 2 or 3 defenders on a double or triple team and try and score over them. Well, there's a little bit of that in RJ, and he does need to recognize more and more to pass out of the double team. I'll agree with that. It's also interesting that they're playing running through the 6 with my woes after RJ scores, just like they did for DeMar back in the day. The Drake song gets played in the arena when RJ makes a basket. Running through the 6 with my woes. You know how that shit goes. Yeah, yeah. Let's see what else. Smooth saying, I'm talking from the perspective of the Knicks rebuild process. Okay, I got you. Mike saying, competing to win helps shape the prospects we find, and they develop into solid pros and have value. Without the whole team, we can't really evaluate their winning capacity. So value making at the moment is best. I completely agree with this sentiment from Mike right now. I think it's right on point. And Wayne saying, totally by Logical's analysis, that's the bottom line. Yes. Yes. In some ways, the short fix of getting easy wins or cheap wins right now is not necessarily as good as learning the learning process. And in some ways, that's more important. That's more important. Mike saying Pirtle was talking about this idea when he said winning isn't to be all the end all this year. Yeah, he understands. He's the assignment and he's in with it. And some people have made fun of him. They said something about his media day interview when he said that, like, winning isn't everything this year. In some ways, we got to understand what we're trying to do and accomplish here for this team this year. And he's trying to tell fans that. Some people were like, oh, this guy's a loser. He doesn't think we're going to win this year. Well, in some ways, he's realistic and he's reading the room better than some people are. That's what I would say right there. Yeah. Carlos saying RJ is the point guard. That's right. He has been playing point guard for us a bit right now. And in some ways, I don't totally want that. I want him to be a secondary scorer, a guy who's on the weak side, ready to come in and take the ball on a pass from Scott or IQ and get an easy basket. That's right. Trevor's saying half the other teams in the NBA, which they can compete with, what we should be so proud what we compression in a few years. I don't understand what you're saying, Trevor. I know you do voice to chat, and sometimes it's just not clear what you're saying, and it's reading the wrong words. So I don't know what that means. All right, let me finish up and wrap up. I am 16 minutes over. Tonight we're playing the Celtics, and they have been winning quite a bit, guys. They've won a lot, and well, their record is 10-3. Drew Holiday is questionable tonight. Jaden Springer is questionable, and Kristaps Porzingis is out. For us, Carton is out for the 9:05 tomorrow, I believe. Jacoby Walter is out. Manuel Quickly, Scotty Barnes, Bruce Brown, and Kelly Olynyk are all out for the Raptors still. And who knows if they went on this road trip with them or not. Our refs tonight are Kevin Scott, Justin Van Dyne, and Simone Jelks. Kevin Scott actually favors the Raptors over the Celtics. Van Dyne and Jelks favor the Celtics. Let's see. What else do I need to talk about? That's in my I had 3 stars from the game last night against the Pistons. They lost the NBA Cup games, disheartening. They had their chances. They were weak sauce in the fourth quarter, only scoring 17 points and allowing the Pistons to come back and win that game by the end of the game. It's too bad. 3 stars a game, Jakob Poeltl, Jamison Battle, and RJ Barrett. Let's see. And what else do I have? Is that it? There's no birthdays today. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. Apparently, Brendan Carlson has been signed by the Oklahoma temporarily. He will be probably back on the 905 at some point shortly. So don't overreact to that. And Alan Tam, Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson yesterday. Tyson's 58. All right. What an accomplishment. You beat up almost a senior citizen. Good job, youngster. Either way. I'm just happy that Mike hung with him. He didn't get knocked out. And it was a long fight. It was a full fight, right? They had to go all the way, and it was a decision that decided it. It wasn't actually knockout. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching the Raptor Freak. I'll be back tomorrow to react to the Boston game tonight. and I'll have your preview for the 905 versus the Capital City Go-Go tomorrow afternoon also. Let's go Raptors. Keep your chins up. Keep your eyes focused on the whole process, the whole thing, and not so compartmentalized in the little stuff. There's a long journey the Raptors have to go on as a team and a franchise to get back to relevancy in the NBA and winning on a consistent level. And well, I'll be here the whole time. And if you want to be here with me, it's your choice. If you want to tap out and go and do other things with your life, I totally understand that. But, I'll be here at least. And you can come back when you're ready to come back then too. All right, bam, son. Let's go, Raptors. And let's surprise the world. Why not put a crazy ass bet on the Raptors to beat the Celtics tonight? You could win a lot of money tonight because nobody's expecting that. And just imagine what the payoff is if the Raptors actually do find a way to beat the Celtics on their home arena tonight and a second night of a back-to-back when they've been resting for 2 nights already. Anything's possible. This is that kind of league that's like that. Let's go, Raptors.